that would be great. Okay, great. Hello, good evening. Welcome everybody to Community Board 1's October full board meeting and public hearing. My name is Evie, I'm the board chair. Thank you so much for being here. We welcome the members of the public and of course all the board members. Just to give a rundown of the agenda today, we are going to start with an item, a land use item, which is regarding the Vernon Broadway rezoning special permit renewal. We will hear from Liz, who's the chair of the Land Use Committee. We will have public session where members of the public are invited to speak, limited up to 2 minutes per speaker. Then we will get into our business section. This is where the board conducts its business. We'll have the adoption of the September 2024 minutes, chair's report, district manager's report, the committee reports. The big item for tonight is our capital and expense list that we will be submitting to the city, which the different committees have been working on. Really appreciate all the work there. Amy will be leading that. Corinne is not here this evening. She couldn't make it, but the two of them have chaired that committee. So we'll be talking about the list and making any modifications to that list and voting on it. We'll then hear from Consumer Affairs, Land Use, and any other additional reports from the different committees as well. And then we'll hear from our elected officials as well. Okay, any questions on the agenda before we get started? Okay, so we are going to start with item number 1, which is the Vernon Broadway rezoning special permit renewal for review and board comment. For this, I would like to hand it over to Liz Arion, our land use chair.
Good evening. I'm going to take this out. Okay. Is this good? Yes. All right. Good evening, everyone. The applicant is not here. I'm basically not representing him, but going to relate to you what happened at the last land use meeting on October 1st. This is an application submitted to city planning to renew a city planning special permit in order to extend it, in order to facilitate the development of a large-scale general residential development that was approved by this board in 2019. This is going to allow them to construct the project, which had been not halted, it hadn't begun, but it was approved in 2019 by the city council, and then we got hit with the pandemic and they didn't go into construction. The permits that they had expired, I believe, in the end of 2023. Let me see what I had done. I had a really nice report for you all, but it's not here. It's with Florence. So anyway, I give you a little understanding of the development. It's a full block that's in Ravenswood, Astoria, that's bounded by Vernon Boulevard, Broadway, 11th Street, 33rd Avenue, and 33rd Road, sorry, and 10th Street. It's the block that is right across from Socrates Park. The property was rezoned in 2019 from R5 to an R6B and an R7X with a commercial overlay near Broadway and 10th Street on the northern part of the site. It's almost 2 acres, and the buildings, the zoning and the large-scale development plan is going to enable 3 mixed-use residential and ground floor commercial and community facilities project. They are proposing to have approximately 350 dwelling units. 113 are proposed to be income restricted. There is a 166 below-grade accessory parking garage. And as I said, ground floor commercial uses and community facilities. And there is going to be, at the southwest corner of the site, a fairly large landscaped public and open space, a park. And there's a private open space in mid-block on 11th Street. As I said, the construction was delayed because of the pandemic, and the permit lapsed in October of '23. The applicant is requesting that the permit now be renewed so that they can complete construction or initiate construction. Let's see, what else is okay. So city planning referred it out. This is a non-ULURP item. It doesn't require a public hearing. And city planning, but they would like to have your comments on the renewal. They referred it out in September, and we have to respond by November 12th. Yes, I'm getting to that. One of the things, I just wanted to give you a little background that the reason they have the large-scale development is because it enables them to move floor area around the site so they can, and also the city planning can issue a special permit for allowing a modification to the height and setbacks of buildings. And so what they've done with that is to stagger the heights of the 3 buildings that are on the site and, putting the higher building closer to the more open area by the Vernon Boulevard, Broadway area, and then having the lower 4-story building closer to the existing development in the neighborhood. So it respects the character of the area. There are no, as Jerry just mentioned, there are no changes made at all to the plan or proposed to be made to the plan that we know of. And this is, there are findings that they have to meet. And the findings that apply to this application include the fact that it meets the large-scale development definition. It's within a commercial zone, which is a requirement. The plans for the development are actually the same as they were originally proposed, so that there are no changes in the bulk modifications being made. Let's see, the floor area distribution and the building locations result in a better site plan. And surrounding streets can handle the traffic that's being generated by the development. And a declaration regarding the ownership requirements has been filed with city planning. So they meet the requirements. Let me see if there's something else. Okay, I don't think there really is anything else about the project. We did not have a discussion of that at the last meeting, did we? No. I think the only question someone asked was, what does, within the context of the zoning resolution for this particular action, there is a clause that says substantially unchanged. So that raised the question, like, to what extent can the project be changed without having a public hearing? So, and the answer was, there are no changes proposed in this from what we saw a few years ago and what we approved. Yeah. So you can take a look at what's in the package now, and I guess I'm done with the presentation. I don't have anything further to add.
Okay, thank you so much, Liz. Any board members have any questions about this renewal or the project in general? Christian.
Thank you.
Oh, Jerry, did you want to?
Yeah, I just want to disclose that I was the architect back in 2019 for architectural purposes.
I just have a quick question. I just need to know who's the developer over there, the name of the developer, because it doesn't say it over here. Or who's the person who's asking for this renewal?
Well, the applicant is the Cipico LLC. Okay.
Any other questions from board members? Okay, is there any member of the public who wanted to speak for or against this renewal? Okay, you can go up to the podium and make sure you sign in, please. Two minutes, up to 2 minutes.
Good to go? Yes. All right. So for the last 3 years, I have been a resident 1 block north of the proposed project. For the last 3 years, we have seen the growth of the west side of Astoria with Astoria West, New Sun, Vernon condos, Verdonia Towers, the Marina condominiums, including the numerous projects up in the Helots Point neighborhood. As residents of the neighborhood, we have experienced increased vehicle and pedestrian traffic, reduced parking, increased noise and environmental pollution and crime. My questions for the board are the following. Have traffic studies been conducted? What are the traffic contingency plans with Costco and the extremely limited existing infrastructure during this construction project along Vernon Boulevard? Will this project contain enough private parking on premises to reduce the parking availability strain on the neighborhood? What are the noise mitigation plans for the Long Island City High School just 1.5 blocks away north of the proposed project? The increased growth in the neighborhood have already shown strain on the existing infrastructure and city services, as we have seen a decrease in frequency and quality of city services related to repairs, maintenance, etc. In addition, we have seen an increase in crime in the neighborhood, most recently a shooting just last week in broad daylight at the Helots Cove Playground. What are the city's plans to increase police headcount to support this population increase and project? We have experienced firsthand unchecked growth with the construction companies working past the construction hours and without permits posted. Give me a second. I am in full support of the vitalization of this neighborhood and continued growth. As someone who has studied urban studies in college, I do have to caution its unchecked potential. More questions must be asked with transparent answers before we allow this project to move forward. As a neighbor, is that my time?
That's time. Could you say your name, please?
Kevin Kranz.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yep.
So you asked a bunch of questions. Just to be clear, the rezoning was already voted on, so
Yes.
this is for the special permit renewal. But I think Liz might be able to answer some of the questions that you had.
Well, I can tell you that the rezoning went through an environmental assessment, and one of the issues that they talked about was the noise, air quality, and traffic. Yes, traffic, and they went through shadows also, and those were the things that were flagged to be studied further. And when they did the analysis of those situations, it resulted in a negative impact. It was not going to impact the surrounding area for any significant time of day, or it was somehow within the context of the project would be addressed and mitigated. So, I'm sorry, the applicant, this did, as Evie said, we had really vetted this project. The letter that we sent to city planning with our issues were very similar to yours. And we enumerated them. I mean, we were concerned about the rents rising, we were concerned about the traffic, we were concerned about the flooding that might ensue, and the connections, the traffic also. But in the long run, it was a good project we felt, the board felt. But the environmental impacts were studied on this, and you can see that online. It's posted online on the city planning website. You can see the whole explanation and what they did.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Richard, did you have a question?
Could I if you have a copy of your testimony, it would be appreciated if you could give it to the office, so we can look at it and keep it on file. Okay.
I have just a quick question. Will this special permit have to be approved through, it's not a ULURP item, but will it have to be approved through the city council or through
No.
any other entity, just
No,
us?
it's strictly city planning.
And we're just advisory, right, so.
Yeah.
Anyone else from the public, for or against? Okay, thank you. I'm going to close this item, and we will vote on it during our business section. Next up, we have public session. This is where members of the public are invited to speak. You're limited to 2 minutes per speaker. If you could go up to the podium, be sure that you sign your name clearly. And our Sergeant-in-Arms Tyrone will be keeping time. Whenever you're ready. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Steve.
Please speak into the mic.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Better. Oh, is that better? Okay, yeah. It's Stephen Weiner. I'm a local wills, estate, and guardianship attorney, and my wife was born in Astoria. And I just wanted to publicly comment on a couple things that are immediate issues. One is that I found in the course of my work, there are couples who have long-term relationships but aren't married formally. And what happens in that case is that there's no automatic inheritance right. And I've had some tragic situations where I've had to talk to people who weren't going to inherit anything because there was no will, there was no arrangement made, and they were together and they had a long-term relationship, and it was a shock. So that's something I think it's just important that people should know, that if there is a long-term relationship, to establish something in writing in some other way. And there's only one other issue I want to raise, which is of concern. Very soon, actually beginning October 26th, the early voting process starts. And one of the things that concerns my profession, the wills, estate, and guardianship attorney, is a surrogate court in Queens. And the ballot, I've seen a copy of the sample, it says the election is for surrogate. It doesn't say court, it doesn't say judge. And I think that some of the people are probably very sophisticated in this room. They'll know what that means. But a lot of the people in the public will immediately think of in vitro fertilization. That's the immediate go-to when people hear the word surrogate. And I've had people say this to me, oh, is that about in vitro? So it's important that, I don't know why the Board of Elections did it this way. They only have that word surrogate with no modifier, just to bring to the attention of the people in this room, of anybody you know who's going to have that question, what is this position? Because it's on the first page of the ballot without explanation.
Okay, thank you. Time is up.
Stephen Weiner, thank you.
Thank you for sharing your concern. Thank you.
Hi, good
Hi.
evening, everybody.
Could you just speak into the mic so we can, because we're also, we're broadcasting this on YouTube as well, so that way people can hear.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Joseph Ottamanelli. I'm with the Department of Sanitation's Community Affairs Bureau. I just had a couple of brief updates to talk on tonight. So beginning November 12th, residential establishments of 1 to 9 units will be required to place trash out in bins of 55 gallons or less with a secure lid. This mandate is going to be for garbage alone. Recycling can be continued to set out as residents have been doing so. Regarding the use of these bins, residents can use their own bins or the bins for sale on bins.nyc, or they can purchase it over the phone at 855 NYC bin. There will be a warning period for this mandate, as those who don't have a bin, those who aren't found compliant from the set starting date of November the 12th to January the 2nd, 2025, after which on January 2nd, 2025, violations will be issued, and the breakdown is $50 for the first offense, $100 for the second offense, and $200 for any third and subsequent offense after that. In terms of service of the bins, empty bins must be removed from the curb by 9 p.m. the day of collection, and storage of the bins can be stored within the rear of the yard or within property boundaries. If no space is available, bins can be stored within 3 feet of the building line. And then the other update I had tonight was regarding commercial violations. Beginning December 19th, fines for repeated commercial offenders pertaining to cleaning-related offenses, failure to clean 18 inches from the curb, dirty area, violations of that nature. There will be increase in fines. For the first offense will be $50, second $300, and the third plus offense any third and subsequent offense after that will be for $500. And those offenses will be within a rolling year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, I guess because you're representing a city agency, people have some questions from the board, so I'll allow it.
Yes.
Go ahead. Yes.
Hello? Yeah. The other day I took the New York City rat training. Tell you all about rats and all that stuff. In that training, they mentioned to us that rats are able to chew through the sidewalk. And they said that the only thing they can't chew through is steel. And I have a question about these bins. My understanding is that these bins are plastic. And so there's a little disconnect there. Can you address that?
In terms of the make of the bin, sir, I'd be happy to provide additional information. I don't have any information on the make and design of the bin at this moment, but I'd be happy to connect with the board office and provide additional information on that.
Could you get back to us?
Of course, yes.
I would hope that they're steel, because according to this training that I took, these animals can chew through sidewalks.
Yeah, I'd be happy to provide some
I was
information
amazed.
over here, and I'd definitely connect with the board office on that inquiry.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, any other board members with questions? Antonella?
Hey, Joe, we were trying to get you at our last meeting, and apparently you weren't available at the sanitation committee meeting. But a couple of questions. We have a lot of questions, but one is, if you have more bags than containers for a given week, what do you do? What do you do then?
If are you speaking maybe like specifically for like a special event, like a holiday or something, where you generate more garbage?
Yeah, or you're cleaning out, you're doing spring cleaning, and you have extra.
Any resident with placing their trash out for collection.
Excuse me?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Every meeting is the same thing.
Hello? Hello?
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, any resident placing trash out for collection, it does have to be containerized, so there needs to be an adequate amount of containers to keep up with the amount of trash that the resident may be generating.
So if you have extra bags, you'll get a ticket if you put.
Yeah, it should be containerized. Well, obviously, with the exception of something larger, like a bulk item that wouldn't fit in the container, that's a separate situation. But bags need to be containerized.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Richard?
Yeah, I'd just like to see if we can get an update. Many years ago, we had a win in this community board when we had the garbage trucks parking on 19th Avenue instead of along 21st Street by your facility there. I'm seeing them back, okay? They're back on 21st Street, and also there's been like no movement towards the construction of the new facility that we've been waiting for years and years and years. We must have approved how many years ago? We supposedly was approved, what? How many years? Yeah. And there's no movement at this point. So I wonder if you have any updates on
Yeah,
that.
so the first point, I know that's, the parking of the trucks on 21st Street has been an issue in the past. We can coordinate with the local district and the internal agency heads to see about mitigating those issues. And my particular purview, I can't speak to any of the real estate related matters, but I can definitely triage that back to our appropriate personnel to look into that further. And obviously, if there's any updates on that front, I'd be happy to connect with the board on that.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
Thank you. And we welcome you back to do a full presentation to the board at some point. That would be
course,
great. Or
yeah.
certainly the sanitation committee.
Yeah, and I'll provide some of my information over here, some cards, just in case anybody has additional questions.
Thank
you very much.
Okay, thanks so much.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Andrew Rubinson, and I'm from Urban Dove UD Team 3 Charter High School, which is a new school in the neighborhood that's opened up right on 37th Street, actually 3120 37th Street. And I have information here, a brochure and a flyer if people want the information after I finish speaking. So UD Team 3 is a transfer school, which is kind of a second chance school for students who have attempted but not passed the 9th grade and who want a fresh start at high school. In the NYC system, there are lots of different transfer schools, second chance schools. Most transfer schools serve 17 and 18-year-old students who are close to graduation. Urban Dove has found kind of a gap in the Board of Ed landscape, which is that the younger population of 15 and 16-year-olds who need a transfer school can't go to the regular transfer schools because they're too young and they don't have enough credits. So Urban Dove has schools to specifically address this population of students. We have a school in Brooklyn, we have a school in the Bronx, and just this year we opened the school here in Western Queens and in East Harlem. So we have no barriers to entry. Any student who applies will be accepted. And again, we're working with these relatively more difficult to work with students because we know that if we can bring those students in and engage them, we can do the academic work with them. One quick thing about the manner in which we do this, we run a sports-based youth development program, which means that every student who comes into Urban Dove is placed on a team, and every team has a full-time coach. And the coach and the team of students go around together all day. First period, they might go to the science classroom and do science. Then the second period, they go to the gym to practice their sport, like that.
Thank you, that's time.
Okay, so sorry, thank you. Is there anyone who would like information?
You can leave information on the table.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks very much.
Good evening. My name is Tresana. I've lived in Astoria for the last 6 years. I'm here tonight to share my personal experience with Vice Chair Amy Howe. While I believe that the time and effort that every person on this board volunteers is admirable, I also believe that the board should represent the people of this community to the best of its abilities. Amy Howe is responsible for a discriminatory policy that bans the keffiyeh at the Noguchi Museum. That is not a good representation of the Queens Board Community 1. I feel very strongly that she should resign or be removed from this board. The first fact about this community that one comes to learn after moving here, and is written on the community board website, is that we have a large immigrant population and that we have the largest Middle Eastern community in Queens. Israel, in the aftermath of October 7th, has carried out an increasingly horrific violence against the Palestinian people and now the civilians of the Middle East. This violence has reached the scale that it warrants the word genocide. We are thousands of miles away from this war, and for concerned individuals like me, the power to make a real difference is limited. One of the small ways I show my support is by wearing this scarf. There is nothing extraordinary about this. It cannot stop a war. It is quite simply a scarf with cultural significance to my friends and neighbors. I've been wearing a keffiyeh for months without incident and without any contact from Amy because the official dress code allowed it. The dress code policy has since changed, specifically targeting this cultural garment. In the last couple months, 52 of my former coworkers signed a petition expressing their disagreement. Over 20 articles have been written about the institution and this change, and 3 gallery attendants, including myself, were fired for wearing keffiyeh. And, most horrifically, the director of visitor services, the only Middle Eastern director, was fired with no cause given. The Noguchi Museum has been a part of this community for 40 years. It is an Astoria landmark created by Sama Noguchi, who was a political activist that voluntarily interned during the Second World War. When I started working there, I felt an immense privilege to be working amongst his work, and I felt proud to share that space with my friends and family. This has all been tainted by the lack in Amy's leadership. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much for sharing your concerns. Okay. Did you sign in?
Yes, I did.
Okay, great.
My name is Eileen Mondello. I'm an almost lifelong Astoria resident. Excuse me if I'm a little poetic, but I just really love Astoria. I'm here to speak about the Land Use Committee proposal for LaGuardia Plaza. I've been going around the neighborhood getting petitions signed, and I have a letter. I'd just like to read it to you now, if you would allow me. We address it to dear elected officials and Queens Community Board 1. We, the undersigned residents of Astoria, New York, 11105, East Elmhurst, New York, 11370, and neighboring areas call this area our home and a place where we conduct frequent business. We feel safe here and choose to reside and frequent this area for many reasons. What I heard said earlier was there's a need to respect the character of a neighborhood. So that's really what I'm all about. There's a true sense of community. In recent years, we've seen much change. Long-time privately owned businesses have been replaced by large chain stores and businesses. There has been much construction of large, taller buildings than previously existed. These buildings increase the density of our community and negatively affect our quality of life. The land mass is relatively small. We are literally at the northern tip of Queens. Our community is nestled between LaGuardia Airport at the east, the RFK Bridge to the west, Rikers Island to the north, and the Grand Central Parkway to the south. We are also home to the Con Edison and Bowery Bay water sewage plants. So these borders speak volumes. What I've seen
sorry,
is
it's time. We have to stick to the time in all fairness to everybody.
Yeah.
I do want to say that that project is still, has not been certified yet by land use, so.
But we don't want to wait until it's certified.
So just keep tabs on it. I hope you've signed up for the CB1 email blasts, and certainly reach out to your council member as well.
It's just we're going from one
extreme to the other. And if you do have the
extreme
petition,
to
you
the
can
other.
bring it up here, so we have it. Thank you. You can bring it up and we'll take the petition. Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else? Public comment?
Hello, everyone. My name is Roger Alvarez. I'm a 35-year resident of Astoria. I live on 20th Avenue and 36th Street. I am basically representing a lot of my neighbors right now. Con Edison has been doing constant work on 20th Avenue. They did it a couple of years ago. A job that was supposed to take 6 months took a year and a half to replace gas pipes. We know it's necessary, but this is a continuous thing, and it's happening again. Apparently, they did a faulty job, so now they have to reopen 20th Avenue. Now, our complaint is not only the noise during the day of construction, heavy machinery, but at night, they put steel plates down on the street, and the buses and the trucks, and it's become a truck route, basically, just go by all hours of the night, shakes the houses incredibly. So the foundations are being compromised by all this traffic, by all this construction. We're just basically asking that they put up work signs that there's work being done and the speed limit's of 5 miles an hour or 10 miles an hour, so it doesn't shake our houses and make all this noise. My neighbors are complaining of PTSD from jackhammering and heavy construction during the day and all these trucks during the night, and we're talking about 18-wheelers constantly. So our question is, who do we go to get some action done to make Con Edison do the work a lot quicker? You know, they say it's going to take 3 months. It might take 2 years knowing them. So we want to expedite everything just because we need some peace and quiet. And we're also very concerned about our homes with this. It's like having an earthquake 400 times a day. So you guys picture that. Living in your house and your house shakes as trucks and buses are going by. So we'd like to know what we can do to get some speed signs, maybe reroute traffic to 19th Avenue.
Thank you. Have you reached out to the board office?
To who?
To the community board office.
Okay.
So if you could just call the community board office tomorrow. I believe Florence has been talking to Con Ed. Are you, it's the same issue? Okay, okay. All right, so just get in touch tomorrow and you'll get an update on the latest, okay? Thank you. Anyone else from the public?
Hi, my name is Catherine McPartland, and I was here with Eileen. So I reiterate what she said about the 37th Street and the LaGuardia Plaza construction. I'm a resident my entire life, born in Astoria. But I want to talk about two other issues right now. One is the garbage all over Astoria. When I grew up in Astoria, 64 years ago, I started my life here. Everybody all the store owners would come out in the morning and clean the sidewalk. That never happens anymore. I don't know what the rules were back then, but maybe we can reinstate that because there's garbage everywhere. And up near LaGuardia Airport, near the Marriott Hotel, where they have all the migrants, the garbage from 86th Street and Ditmars all the way around is like a garbage dump. I called the sanitation department about 15 times. They did clean it up. But within 3 weeks, it's back again, like a garbage dump. So I think that it should be addressed consistently, because if they're going to have, all the people there, they have to, make sure it's clean for the rest of us. And the last thing I'm going to mention is these lights that are giving people tickets. The tickets went up near the schools. The speed limit went down to 25 miles an hour. We're living here our whole life. You turn the corner in your car like you did your entire life since you had your license. You're not driving fast because it's your neighborhood. But all of a sudden, the traffic speed limit is 25 and you're getting tickets. I got 6 tickets in the matter of like 2 months. Did I know the traffic lights were going up? No, they just sprung them on you. And they put the camera behind a little tree. And this is going all over Astoria and probably all over New York. But in my case, it's in our neighborhood. And people didn't know about it.
Okay, that's time.
They should say something before they put the cameras up. They should give a pre-warning to the residents.
Thank you. That's time. Regarding sanitation, Florence will kind of follow up and call sanitation about those issues. I just encourage everybody to follow the speed limit. Regarding LaGuardia, like I said, that project is on hold right now, but it will be coming down the pike at some point.
Hi there. I actually wasn't going to speak today, but you heard from my husband, Roger. We live down on 20th Avenue on 36th Street.
Could you talk a little more into the mic, please?
Yes.
I'm sorry, and say your name.
Is that better? Okay. I was saying that I wasn't going to speak today. My husband got up and spoke to you about 20th Avenue and 36th Street. I just want to say that I did speak with Florence, and she told me to come here and present it to you. So that's the first thing. We did speak with Con Ed over the phone. They said they were, going to look into it. I did speak with a community affairs officer who also told me to come here. So that's the reason I'm here. So I would like to hear from the board. I mean, I can't be the only person that knows about what's going on with Con Edison. I can't be the only person that has traffic complaints. I can't be the only person who has noise issues. Like, what's going on in general? And I also, when I spoke to the community affairs officer, I said, just put an empty cop car there just so people are deterred from speeding. Like, help me out. And he said he didn't have the funds. He couldn't help me out. They don't have the money. And I get it. I know New York City's in, difficult straits, but, I want to go home and feel like comfortable in my home. I want to feel restful. I want to feel like I can, enjoy my community. And I'll be honest, this story is kind of going to shit. And I would love to hear from members of the community. I mean, are you seeing the same thing? How do you guys feel? That's basically why I'm here.
Okay, well, thanks for coming and thanks for speaking, even though you weren't planning on it. It is important because it does become part of the public record. So, yes, you said you had already talked to Florence, but it's good to come here as well and state it in public because then other people might hear about it. And the more complaints that come down the better, because we'll get kind of a better response
So is
from the
anything
agencies.
being done about
Hold-
noise,
I'm
or
sorry, what?
is anything being done about noise or traffic, or what is the board's thoughts on what's
So
happening?
Florence said she called, and they said they're going to put new plates down that will reduce the noise. So I don't know if that's since you talked. Hold on. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Hi. So I called Con Edison. Con Edison said that they're going to put, for lack of a better word, gaskets underneath the plates. So Thursday was the first phone call I got from the community. Thursday I called, they did put the gaskets, but the plates were picked up again, and they didn't put the proper amount of lining underneath. They told me that the project isn't going to be going on much longer. As your husband said, there was work done, the work was faulty, which forced them to go back. They had to do it. But with traffic patterns changing in Astoria, 20th Avenue is now used more widely. And we also have the addition of a parking lot over there, which causes the problems that you, as a homeowner, are having. Con Ed assured me that there's no damage to there is shaking, but there is no damage to the foundations. If anybody has a claim, they can go to Con Ed. But Con Ed is not a New York agency, it is utility. So a lot of the calls have to go directly to Con Ed through the number on your bill. You're welcome to call my office at any time, bring it to my attention, and I will call Con Ed while you are on the phone with me, and I will tell them your exact complaint. I did that for 2 other people. I don't know if I did that for you, but I did that for 2 other people, and they're going back tomorrow to look at the linings on the plates again.
Okay, great. If you had mentioned that to my husband, I would not be standing here, so thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I do hope to see some changes.
It's still good that you're there speaking. That's good. Thank you. Thanks so much. Okay, anyone else from the public? No? Last call? Okay, all right. Now we're going to move on to the business section of our meeting. First item is adoption of the September 2024 minutes. Hopefully, board members had a chance to look over the minutes. We would like to have a motion to approve the minutes. Okay, Amin. Okay, Doreen seconds. All in favor? Well, any discussion, any questions, any edits to the minutes? Yes, Thomas.
The copy of the minutes that I have has a redacted portion. Is this on everyone's copy?
It's in mine. Page on.
The first copy of the minutes, title, Community Board 1, cover sheet.
Yeah, mine is like that.
Nothing should have been redacted.
I'm sure it's not a redaction. I think it's probably just something I would have done on a copy machine is what I think it was.
I'm sorry, which page, Thomas?
This is the first page of the minutes in my copy. I thought maybe I had one off. It follows the Vernon Boulevard Broadway.
I see.
I don't believe they can be approved in this form.
We do have them electronically, so, I mean, I could read the page.
Could you read it in character?
In character? Which character should I be?
Depends on who it's reading. No. That's
With
I
it's
have
this.
the
Do you see how
first
it's cut off? Oh, I see. Okay, so
Dominic has a full
yeah,
copy.
I think. Who does not? Okay.
Mine
Hold
does
on.
have.
Raise your hand if you do not have on the first page of the minutes like a full page of text. Okay, some people did, some people didn't. Okay. So if you do have a full page of text, that means you have the full page of minutes, right? I guess something was superimposed on some of them. I see what you're saying.
I believe so, yes. Just bringing it to your attention. I certainly can look at it if it
Thank you. I think Florence has other copies.
Thank you. It's not that, it's all same.
Oh, okay. So if you do have a full page of text, maybe you can share it with someone who doesn't have a full page of text. They were emailed out to everybody as well. We do like people to read them before the meeting, if possible, right? Because we don't want to really have to sit here and look through the minutes. I realize that's not always possible. So, I mean, we can actually wait to approve the minutes to the next meeting, if you'd like to do that.
I think we can open. That's up to you.
Thomas, do you tell me what you would like?
I certainly am not making a motion not to approve minutes. I just wanted to bring to the chair's attention that there seemingly had been a distribution, and if these are to be approved, they should be approved in a form that does not have a copy error. So if there is a copy that is fulsome, which my colleague Dominic Stiller showed me, then I'm comfortable approving the minutes. Thank you, Dominic.
Okay. Thank you. And you should have it in your email, too, the full version in your email as well. They were sent out on Friday. Okay. Does anyone have any concerns about approving the minutes today as well? I appreciate Thomas for bringing that up, because I read the minutes, so I didn't really look at this in my packet. Okay. All right. So we'll take a vote then. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. All right. My report, I like to keep it short. I just want to say thank you to all the committees for doing some real work on the capital and expense budget items. I really appreciate the thoughtfulness people put into it. I really appreciate the committee engagement. This is something that we want to kind of continue. We had a lot of new chairs. It was their first time doing it. We had a lot of, continuing chairs, and it was their first time doing it. So I appreciate everybody for the work that they've done, and we're going to get into that in a few minutes when we look at the capital and expense budget. But that was really it for me today. I don't have much else to say. I'll hand it over to Florence to give her report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening. Our office has been assisting the committees setting up for capital and expense. The committee for fiscal year 26 budget has been working diligently. Corinne gave her regrets for not attending tonight as she has a family emergency. I know we all wish her well. Amy has attended the committee meetings organizing the handouts and the material the members have received tonight. She has been working diligently and incredibly busy with that. She has been painstaking in details. I did not want to miss the opportunity to give her a shout out. At Borough Cabinet this month, the district managers had the opportunity to meet new Commissioner of Department of Environmental Protection. He grew up in Queens and is a borough-centric person. I had the opportunity to discuss with him the number 2 item on last year's capital list. The Commissioner will assign our representative to do follow-up on that item, which is the full reconstruction of 32nd Street off Ditmars Boulevard to the dead end of 32nd Street. It was a good opportunity to bring this important item to light for the agency and our community. The American Red Cross also attended the cabinet, and they are seeking volunteers after 2 hurricanes. The representatives also spoke about fire preparedness and the need for individuals to utilize fire and carbon monoxide alarms. Fire safety is so important. Create a plan for escape. It matters. The American Cross can be reached at 1-800-733-2767. To become a volunteer, go to www.redcross.org/volunteer. The One Police Plaza Task Force is continuing to facilitate our office and our district. A total of 18 vehicles were removed and 21 summonses issued. The breakdowns were as followed. NYPD traffic placed 4 barnacle windshields, locked illegally parked commercial vehicles, 4 box trucks. The 114 issued 21 summonses to illegally parked commercial vehicles, 17 for violating tow, 4 barnacle windshield locks. Towing removed 18 commercial vehicles for illegally parked commercial vehicles, 10 box trucks, 4 large box truck, heavy-duty tow, 3 vans, 1 box truck, road tow. Thank you all for all you do for the community. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Florence. Okay, now we're going to get into committee reports. We are going to start, we're going to go in alphabetical order. We'll start with our Business and Economic Development Committee. Brian and Brian are the co-chairs.
What's from last? What was the date that we had the meeting? Yes, there was last Wednesday, the 9th, we had a committee meeting to go over the capital and budget expense
items that we were going to prioritize and submit to the board. Those here are listed in the minutes. I don't think we had any major issues or questions that had come up at the committee meeting. And what we did put in here, that's, you can see in the back. Is this on? You can hear me?
So pretty much we kept everything that was already on there to continue funding on it. And we added 2 new items, one of which was to add some type of representation at the SDS office. That'll be a resource for small businesses. And another one was getting some type of help or support for small businesses to become WMBEs and certified. Other than that, we kind of kept it as is. We reprioritized as needed, and we submitted that to the office.
Great, thank you. Anything else to add?
Not right now. I think our next meeting is going to be in December.
Great.
We haven't scheduled it yet, but yeah, we're looking for December.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, next we're going to get right into our capital and expense budget work. Co-chairs Amy and Corinne. Corinne couldn't be here, so I'm going to hand it over to Amy, who I really want to thank for all the work that she's done with all the committees to put the list together.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for all the help. I think first I just want to say, a little bit about the whole process, because it's the first time we've done it in a number of years, and we really wanted to not submit the same lists and the same priorities. We know that some of those items had already been supported, funded by the different agencies, and other things, looking at past year's agency responses, knowing that they are projects that may never get funded. They will have issues funding because it's not a parks property or whatever the reasons are. So in thinking about the methodology of how to approach the old list, how to incorporate new items, we took a stab at removing some of those items that we know are either already funded or will never get funded, and really just trying to bring up the new priorities that we have, the new needs that we have in the district. I learned through this process that typically the capital list only has about 40 items per list, and the expense budget items are only listed about 25, and we've had historically like 50 plus items on our list. So really good for us to take the list, take a look at it, review, and see what we want to take out, what we want to put in as new priorities, right? Things change and we have new needs. So I know it's a lot of material to look at, and I'm sorry that it came to you late, but hopefully next year we'll get started a little earlier. But I want to just go through very quickly, and in the interest of time, again, sort of pre-sorting a list of things that we're removing. So if the chairs would just look at those removed items and let me know whether or not we want to keep them back on the list. Let's do that first, and then we'll look at all the new items. So can we look at the capital list first? And I can read them off to you, things that we're sort of considering removing. There's the Seawell, I'm sorry? Should I just just very quickly, yes, Frank.
Just a quick note, for those with physical copies, we have the same issue of a whited out first page, so I would encourage everyone to shift to a digital copy for the front page.
And again, we were hoping to have a committees meeting prior to this so that we can go through this process without taking you all through it. So what's the best way? Should I just go ahead and read through all the removals?
I don't think there's any removals on page
On capital. There is. There's a number of projects that we.
But not on the first page.
Okay.
No, not on the first page, yeah.
So
If you look in your packet, anything that's in orange, they're kind of all grouped together. Those orange items were on the list last year, but the capital and expense co-chairs are recommending that we remove them for like some of the reasons that Amy said. So, you know, if you could just take a look at those, if there's anything that you feel really strongly should go back in, you can let us know. Remember, there's also next year, right? We'll do this again next year. But we just wanted to make it transparent. These were some of the items that have been removed from the list right now, right? This is a draft list.
Yeah, and the first item on the items to remove under capital was Parks and Culture. It was number 4 last year. It's the seawall repair and Esplanade. Do you see that one? Yeah, so from that down are the... Okay. Okay, so again, if you don't mind just, bringing up anything that needs to go back up into the list and not in the orange to be removed. Florence is suggesting that we keep number 4, and so on. So just want to get a consensus here.
Amy?
Yeah, yes.
It's not the remove, but into the new request, the second one that I had mentioned earlier that we suggested as a committee, it got labeled under education, library, youth. I'm not sure why. So under the new request, the second one, funding for
You're looking at
in-person.
expense.
Huh?
You're looking at the expense list
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now. No, we're talking about a capital list. Can we stay on the capital list for a minute?
Okay.
Yes, Chris, thanks.
Amy, I don't want to overcomplicate this, but given the need and the flooding that has happened in the Astoria houses, what is the rationale for taking the seawall off? Is it that it's going to be funded through another means?
It's through the Army Corps of Engineer, and they're still studying, and they've been studying this for years and years and years. Okay, so why don't we put it back on then? We'll put it back on. Thank you. Any other items?
The seawall repair at Socrates, should that be continued support, since it hasn't started yet, but it's going to be starting soon?
They haven't started that, but from what I
So
understand,
continued
it's one
support.
of those Army Corps of Engineer, and part of the other capital requests that they're making in terms of.
There's quite a few seawall repair items on this list
So
in
it's
general.
funded, we don't need to worry about it. Well, I'll move it to continue support.
It's already funded.
No, what I was going to mention, there's quite a few seawall repair items here. In order to consolidate things, what if we put together one item and mention all the different seawall spots, and consolidate it so we have more room for other things? I think that would make sense.
All right, to be considered. I'm going to be writing all the chairs this weekend. Yes, Chris.
One more thing.
Yes.
I wonder if this is something, I'm kind of going along with what you said. Is the seawall really going to be funded through the capital, the New York City Council allocations cap? I just don't see that.
It is, actually. It's a combination. I mean, when they did Queensbridge, that was partially funded. The lead agency was Parks, actually.
All right, so then I'm all for it.
But there's also federal and state funding for that, too. Yeah, it's a combination.
Thank you for the clarification.
Well, there's a lot of these here.
We're not remarking it, right? I just want to go through this first.
Yes, we are going to vote tonight on this. We are not ranking right now. We are just looking what has been proposed to be removed, and if anyone wants to advocate for putting it back on. That's what we're doing right now.
I mean, we can have a
We're
list
not
of 100
ranking right
items. Okay. Continuing on, number 7, Astoria Park, build ice skating rink and pool area. This was moved to the expense budget rather than capital. Some of these
One
other
comment
items,
on that, though, when it
Hold
went
on,
on
Richard,
the...
Richard.
Okay.
You can't just call out, okay? And we know you've been advocating for a lot of things.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, but let's just get through it. Okay.
There's so many good projects that we need to have funding for. Again, another seawall at Whitey Ford. Any comment on that, Florence? So it's funded, but you're saying it's going out to bid.
All right, we can put it on continued support.
So that's a continued support thing, right? Okay.
They don't put something out to bid unless the funding
That's
is
funded,
been
yeah,
allocated.
it's funded.
I talked to Borough Hall about it, so.
Okay. So the next item, I'm just going down, Leicester Creek had been on for quite a bit. Agency response last year was that this is not maintained by DPR for the Parks Department, so we may have to actually go to DEP or some other agency. So we can keep it on the list, but I think it has to go through some other channels other than Parks Department. The next item on the capital to be removed is the ICU unit at Mount Sinai. They just recently got full funding, and congratulations to Mount Sinai for getting an ICU unit, so that should be removed. And other projects down below, the passive recreation area for St. Michael's, that's been funded and in scoping, and I can move it into continued support. So there's that. And the Triborough bike access roadway is actually, I think, a Port Authority project and not a DOT. So the city's response to that is that it's not within the city's budget jurisdiction. So I like to remove that. So some will go into CS and some will be removed. We agree, in agreement on? Okay, great. So new items under capital that we'd like to propose. And I try to put this in the order from the different committees. So the first few are education. And again, this is, capital only, not the expense. Funding needed to renovate auditoriums at IS 141 and 126. Build computer labs throughout CD1 district in elementary and middle and high schools. PS 122 need electrical upgrade throughout the building. PS 122 also need an annex constructed. And a new school is needed near the Astoria Boulevard and 27th Avenue area.
You're taking that off 122 requests?
Oh, yeah, okay. Which, both of them?
Both of them.
Okay.
They already funded.
Okay.
They're just waiting to get the fund.
Thank you. Thank you, Amin. So those will be removed. So we have 1, 2, 3 new education items to move up to the ranking, and we should discuss that.
I just wanted to say regarding the new schools in the 27th and Astoria Boulevard area, there are going to be 2 new schools constructed on the Hallett's Peninsula as part of the rezonings that we had, so that is that area.
So do we remove this item?
Is that an elementary school?
It doesn't
no.
specify.
I would imagine.
Yeah,
The building.
elementary school should be there.
So we'll ask for elementary? It just says a new school.
Mm-hmm. Who put in that request? Did you put that in?
Education, yeah.
Was there, did that come from a particular?
Yeah, because that community, is far.
Into the mic.
That area is far from the public school that we have right now, and the continuing growing that the buildings that high-rise buildings and neighborhoods there, they needed that area. So some people were telling us that it is necessary to do. And you said that they already proposed 2 schools is there. So is that approved or not? I didn't know that they're approved or not. So if they're establishing any school there, then that's fine. But otherwise, we needed a school in that area.
There are 2 schools. I don't know if you remember, Marie, but there's 2 schools that the developers who are doing 2 big projects on Hallett's Peninsula they've committed to doing that. That was part of the rezoning, that they would build 2 new
Is
schools.
that
One
on
of
the-
them we were going to hear from. SCA was supposed to come before the Land Use and Education Committee in October, but they postponed it. I don't know if they're going to come in November, but that was going to be about one of the schools.
Okay, but is that included with the Astoria COP? You're talking about that project or no?
Sorry?
We used to have the Astoria COP, the project, and is that the school, the new one you're talking about? Is that included with that project?
The school
Because
that they
are not
were going to
doing the
come
project.
talk to us about was going to be built on NYCHA property.
NYCHA property.
Yep. At Astoria houses.
Yeah.
Should I just continue all these items first?
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to the next committee, Health and Human Services, we've added 3 new items here. First one is provide new homeless shelters and upgrade existing facilities. Second one is provide a new and expanded healthcare facility. And the third is to renovate and upgrade senior centers across CD1 district. So I think we should move all of those up to the new ranking. We'll decide the numbers in a minute. The next committee after that is housing. We added 3 new items here, which is provide supportive and adaptable housing for seniors, domestic abuse survivors, and neurodiverse individuals. The second item is to provide more housing for extremely low and low-income households. And the third is to create more housing on NYCHA properties. Are we in agreement in moving all 3 items up? Any?
May I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Well, Katie knows. When you say more housing on NYCHA properties, do you mean privately developed housing? I guess not, because
It's
otherwise
coming
it
from, maybe
So would it be
Katie can mention.
NYCHA-run housing, or?
It's actually... Into the mic, Katie, if you don't mind.
Sorry. I think, though it is vague, the idea is that it would be affordable housing, and it's not clear if it would be NYCHA-run or privately developed. So I don't know how that impacts where it's ranked or how it happens. But go ahead. Do you have a comment, Doreen?
Yeah, hi everyone. I would say that we should be on the safe side and assume it is, we know that they're actively trying to privatize NYCHA and, with RAD Pact and gentrification, push people out, et cetera. So as a community board, here to, hopefully protect our most marginalized residents, I would say we should probably put something else, like we just need more deeply affordable housing everywhere, and I mean not in NYCHA specifically. I mean, NYCHA really needs a lot of rehab. Like there needs to be funds to fix the mold and the rats and the asbestos. So, that's how I would frame it personally.
I think in the conversation on the housing committee was that this is going to happen. They're already considering it on at our campuses, and we have to be mindful of that and try to get ahead of it. So if, as a board, we want to say, we are all for deeply affordable housing, but there is already talk of them doing that. So where does the board stand, and can we get ahead of it and say it should be, public housing or deeply affordable? I'm not sure. It's up to us to decide.
This is our list of our requests, right? So it's really important that if we're making a request, we're really clear on what it is that we want and what it is that we don't want.
I believe we cannot say affordable anymore, because every time when you go for affordable houses, people cannot pay the rent. Every day I'm helping people cannot pay the rent. They not qualify, and they said affordable. We can say Section 8, and this will be better, because you cannot. And also, if we say Section 9 is much better, because people live in NYCHA, Section 9 protecting them is better and better. And we need, that's why we educate people about Section 9, not Section 8. If we can put this in the comment, will be much better.
Okay, so if people aren't familiar with what Section 8, well, you might be familiar with what Section 8 is. Those are kind of like subsidies, right, that the landlord gets to make up the difference in what the tenant pays and what the asking rent is. Section 9 is for public housing, right? So that is the difference there. So you're suggesting that we specify
Like
Create more Section
since we
9
use in
housing.
NYCHA land, this is NYCHA land. We use Section 9, and we give more people they can afford the rent. Not we said affordable, and people cannot pay. I believe this is much better. And also we know they're using now NYCHA land because they used in Astoria, and they're going from housing to other housing, but we as a community, we need to see if the people live in NYCHA and the other people in the community.
Any other thoughts on that one? I would agree. Can we, that's good with the, yeah? Okay, all right, so we can adapt that one.
Yeah, so I'm going to change that to create more Section 9 housing on NYCHA properties.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, moving right along, parks and culture. We have Triborough G, canopy for shaded area, water fountain, plug hose, I'm sorry, typo, and ready for faucet to facilitate upkeep. Socrates Sculpture Park, climate adaptation, capital improvements. So I thought, Richard, some of the other seawall money could be part of this whole climate adaptation capital project. But wait, hold that thought. Let me finish these other projects. Repair and restore recently renovated tennis courts up at Astoria Heights Playground, create dog park in Whitey Ford Field, and construct playground in DeMarco Park. So those are the new capital projects under Parks and Cultural. Richard, you want to make a comment?
Okay. I guess, first of all, I had a couple questions. The waterfront access to Hallett's Cove Playground, I wasn't sure what that was, and where that can be placed, and whether that item should be kept. Waterfront access is great, but I don't know where you're going to put that in by the playground. It doesn't currently exist. Maybe Katie, do you know what that was?
I must have missed that. I don't see it on here.
What number are you referring to, Richard?
Oh, let me go back. This is from my notes from earlier that I sent you guys. Okay, where is that one?
So you're referring to an item that's not on the list? Is that what I'm saying?
No, it should have been on. I wouldn't have written it down if it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't under parks. Maybe I missed that.
Can we stick to this list of 5 items now and move them up to the new ranking? Yes, yes,
Number
yes.
which one?
Under capital, Hallett's Cove, yeah.
I'm missing a page here.
It's up on the top before all the new items. Thank you, whoever spotted that. Thanks, Rosemary.
Which one? Did you see the one about waterfront access? Because I can't, I'm a little... Hallett's Cove Playground reconstruction. Okay, yeah, it's not under parks, it's under business and economic development, and that was,
Oh, that was
sorry.
because it was EDC, yeah.
Yeah, that
went
was
in.
the waterfront recreational use.
Okay, so can we, the 5 items down below where it says new request, we're moving all of those up? Everyone agree? Yes, yes, yes? Any, yes,
I'm sorry.
Thomas?
I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm new to this, so please, I appreciate
So
your
am I.
patience. I'm just reading through this, and is this going to be a public document? Yes. The point where under housing new provides supportive and adaptive housing for seniors, domestic abuse survivors, and neurodiverse individuals, because those are distinct communities with distinct and sometimes divergent needs, are we grouping them as one group that needs one type of housing, or are we saying that we need distinct types of housings for each one of those groups?
The latter.
I think that could be made more clearly just to show that we do identify that those are distinct communities.
We can put that in our rationale, right? So basically, there's a list of the items, then we kind of provide like a rationale or more detailed explanation of what that means, and that's where we would clarify it.
Where do we see that?
Under the column where it says explanation of requests, I mean, we actually, as part of submitting the request every year, really need to write up an explanation and a rationale, as Evie said, to kind of explain what the needs are. Certainly, I can break out these different population into individual items, and then, you know, we can, I'm going to need some help with committee members to do some of that explanation. Okay. Moving along to transportation.
May I just, a couple of other things, if I can mention to you, okay? One other thing that I thought of was the dog run. I wonder if that could be moved up higher in the list, because that's an active.
We're just looking at all the list items first, and then we'll do the ranking, you know, in a minute. Hold on. I mean, this is not ranked. These items are just the new requests that we need to fold into the ranked list, okay? Transportation, we have 4 items under capital. First one being the hardening and formalizing of Shore Boulevard Greenway. Next item is daylighting of all intersections with planters and blocks. Third item is to greatly increase number of loading zones in commercial corridors within the district. And the fourth item is the unification of 20th Avenue protected bike lane in Astoria and connection to Promenade past LaGuardia Airport. So I think we are all in favor of these items, right?
I have a question, please,
yes,
Amy.
Marie, yes.
Are we talking about all the intersections? We want planters and blocks and
Transportation Committee Chair?
daylighting of all intersections. That's how it reads.
That's what came to.
Hey, Dominic.
Hey, Marie, how are you?
Good.
I don't have an answer.
Oh,
Nas, do you have an answer?
I think we need specifics.
I think it's each and every one, just joking.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nas.
So that, we put that request in context of the resolution that we drafted a while back that Adam so brilliantly put together, sort of reinforcing our desire to see that everywhere where, of course, obviously it makes sense. So, and it is kind of on a large scale, so we felt that it was appropriate for this, the fiscal year asks.
Just to follow up, we could edit it, Amy, to be more clear and link it to that resolution in terms of intersection priority. Maybe that's appropriate?
That'd be great, thank you.
I'll email that to you.
I think that would be great, because
Right.
I sort of feel they ignore something that's so broad-based. And maybe your committee or everyone here might have intersections that really need this and could send it to Dominic and the committee. Thank you.
You could emphasize the fact for universal daylighting, but then specify the priority intersections.
Got it. Will do. I will email that to Amy by 5 o'clock tomorrow.
That'll be great. So then the tough part now comes the new ranking. Again, at the top of the list, after removing certain items, I basically put in a new 1 through 23 items. So now we have additional items from the new request to add into the fold to the top. Frank, you have an idea on how to do this?
Sure. If we're required to do it ordinally, that's probably going to be quite time consuming.
Yeah.
One thing we found quite expedient for our committee
Yeah.
was to trough it into high priority, mid priority, low
Yeah.
priority. So
Yeah.
if troughing is acceptable as a deliverable, it might quite help us speed the process.
I'm all for that. So can we go down the list and say high, low, medium? All right, so education, funding needed to renovate auditoriums. High, low, medium? Auditoriums at IS 141 and IS 126.
They're very bad condition, so they're begging.
High?
Yeah, yeah.
Building computer labs for all elementary.
Yes, that's very essential.
High?
Excuse me again. I think this is too broad.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are probably some schools that do have computer labs, newer ones, so we need to know which schools in particular. Thank you.
You can answer that question? About the computer lab?
Jacqueline did a lot of outreach to schools, so were there particular schools in mind for the computer? Because some, like Marie said, some do have gotten new computer labs over the past few years.
I would have to do more research then and reach out to the schools in order to identify which ones, have and which ones don't. But it's simply a community-wide spread awareness for the need for computer labs and to catch all. It's a catch-all right now. So could you advise as to, what can be done at this point since we're ranking them?
I would say that a lot of schools, they do apply for what's called RESO funding directly from their council member. So if they need a computer lab, they can advocate for that capital request directly with their council member. They all submit applications and their requests, and they usually get funded. So perhaps this is an item that is maybe not high or medium, but maybe low, because this is just my suggestion. A lot of schools have gotten new computer labs. The ones that don't, they probably are going to put that on their RESO list if it's a real need, if they feel it's a real need.
Okay, understood.
Yes, Chris.
Sorry. I would also say that, just to add to the case that you're making, we are also at the beginning of the participatory budgeting season. Councilmember Caban, this district is heavily active in that. That's the type of thing that often rises to the top through participatory budgeting as well. So that's another mechanism that by which some of these schools could be funded if we're trying to think about prioritizing things that don't have another route to be funded, as important as those computer labs are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. So I'm putting that under low for now.
Yeah.
We're skipping the 122 items. We're taking those
totally.
out.
Yeah, because they're already funded.
So the next one is the new school at Astoria Boulevard and 27th Avenue area, which Evie just mentioned that there are 2 new schools in that to be planned. So is that a low item, you guys?
Yeah, we can make that low.
Okay. Then back to next committee is Health and Human Services, homeless shelters and upgrade existing facilities. Hi.
There was a drug awareness funding. The issue was there. Can you put that on?
I'm sorry, say that again. Can you say that?
The drug awareness fund that we requested to the elementary school and the middle school.
You want to change the low to high? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, no.
No. I'm sorry, I didn't hear
We
you.
had a request for the drug awareness program from the expense.
Yeah.
Doing capital now.
Thank you. Provide a new and expanded healthcare facility. High, medium, low. Shout out from Shana. High, medium, low. High. Thank you. Renovating and upgrading senior centers across the district, also high.
Can I ask a question? I'm so sorry, Shana. Provide a new or expanded healthcare facility. So is there a healthcare entity that would partner and it just seems like usually there's a hospital or a healthcare entity that is requesting the capital.
Because we have one in Yansana and the public one is
I don't know the intricacies, but it seems to me that you can't appropriate funds if there's no healthcare entity that is going to build and operate the facility, unless it's a city-operated facility. I may be wrong.
Yeah,
So I don't know if this one is
sometimes
the
we
most
go,
practical.
sometimes we have like concepts here, just basic needs for the community that are not specific, and they'll sit on this for years, but at least it's a statement that we're letting people know, the electeds and the agencies, that it's a need that we want to see addressed.
That helps, thank you. I'm
Yes.
just trying to learn myself.
I mean, having a public health clinic would be amazing in this community. We don't have one. So it doesn't have to be a hospital, right? It can be a clinic, a public clinic.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying.
Housing, I would assume all of those items are high.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Parks, Triborough G, Socrates Sculpture Park, repair and restore recently renovated tennis courts. And you mentioned dog park.
The dog park in Whitey Ford Field.
Yeah.
That's something that's actually well on its way to happening, we hope, and the council person has unofficially given her support to it.
So it's a low priority then? High, medium, low, Richard?
Well, it's not official yet, the support, so.
Triborough G, high, medium, low? Can you just give me, yeah.
Medium.
Okay. Socrates?
High.
Astoria Heights Playground?
High.
And DeMarco Park?
Medium.
Okay, thank you. Transportation, we have Shore Boulevard Greenway hardening. Dominic? High, medium, low?
Medium.
Thank you. Daylighting, and you're going to give me new language on that?
Yep.
And that might be medium, maybe?
No, high.
High, that's high. Thank you. Loading zones, loading zones in commercial corridors.
Do I get to choose? I'm hearing high from other people, but I might say medium, so.
You're the
Kian is saying-
chair.
So medium high.
I think the chair. Okay.
Medium well, please.
Okay, I'll say medium high.
With
How would
NASA's
you like
input,
to
please
stay?
say high.
Okay,
Thank
the
you.
last one, the 20th Avenue bike lane in Astoria, connection to Promenade past the LaGuardia Airport.
I'm going to say low.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to say low because it seems to be in the works with the Greenway project. That's the only
Okay.
reason. That's the only reason I'm saying low.
So,
And I don't want to steal all the highs.
what should I do? Should I just like take this info, weekly tonight, send it off to all the I'm going to take a minute to rank all this, just play around with it. I mean, I could plug it, I want to plug it into How about if I screen it up there and you all can like watch me work? Okay.
I think the important thing to do is like look at the list now. So basically what Amy did is when she removed those items, she kind of, there are gaps, right? So let's just say it was 1, 2, 3, and 4 was removed. Basically everything that was below that got moved up, right? Just so that there wasn't any gaps. So what we're going to do now at this point is those new items, right, have been kind of prioritized. Amy's going to add those to that ranking list, and we're going to decide where those go. Now, they could just go at the bottom, if you want them to just go like, okay, we're just going to add them for the bottom spots that are available. But if there's something that you're like, okay, we really think that this is a high community need, again, not just your personal, right, thing that you want, thinking about the community and what's like really needed, then you'd say, okay, well, even though this is a new item, I think that this should be ranked number 2. And then we have to try and come to a consensus regarding that. So does that make sense in terms of what the next step of the process is? Yeah? Okay, questions. Frank and then Richard.
Just a point of process suggestion. I've noticed that a number of items may be miscategorized. They might be listed either here when they're in fact programmatic, or as we found for several items in public safety that will be coming up on the removed list and added list and everything else, were listed as programmatic when in fact they were capital. So just keeping our CapEx and OpEx clean, while if we're going to be moving these things around, it might make sense to also just flag in flight, hey, you know what, this probably actually doesn't belong on this list, this belongs on the other list.
Yeah, I think we tried to do, or Amy tried to do that.
Yeah.
But if there was something that was missed, you should point it out.
Yeah, I mean.
Great, so I'll try not to be too pedantic, but just figured I'd flag it while we're doing it live. Thank you.
Okay. So I don't know if you can see.
Yeah, and one thing that I wanted to bring up, I was always told over the years that really the most important items are the top 10. That's the ones that the electeds and the agencies look at. So those are the ones that we have to really be, insightful about how we prioritize them. The ones below that, we can be a little more, just follow where they exist right now. Make it a little easier also.
I just want to say that something can be in the top 10, and for years and years and years, it doesn't get funded.
Yeah.
So.
That doesn't make it any more or less valuable. If this board thinks it's valuable, whether it's funded or not, shouldn't make a difference.
I'm just saying, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to get the funding either, right? So that's important. Someone had their hand up? Quinella.
Okay. On one of these pages, you have item 22, which is lighting in Astoria housing. So I think that's important. That's a safety. My thing is, let's put things in order of safety and health.
Okay.
So I think that's a safety issue.
Yeah, we're going to get to that in a second. So when you're ready, when Amy's ready, if you want to say, I think this is too far down on the list and we should move it up, and we'll see. Do people agree? Do we move it up?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
And
Keep in mind, I have to leave at 8:45.
All right, it's 8:08. We can do this.
And we have a big expense list. Are we keeping this first item, transportation, install lighting at Howard's Peninsula at 1? Yes, no?
Yes, I hope.
Are we good with keeping that at number 1?
Yes, all around. Full pipeline construction at 32nd Street, that's 2. Or do you want to put a housing item in there?
I think housing should be next.
I'm wondering, Amy, if we kind of look at what's on the list currently and we look at the new items and then see whether we want to rank those up, where we might want to put them.
So maybe move a couple of these housing items up?
Yes.
Sorry, my cell is still clear. I lost something. I think I lost something. There we go. So keeping both of this as 2 and 3, maybe? Provide more housing, extremely low and low income. And create Section 9 housing. Yes, no?
Yes.
The pipeline, construction 32nd Street.
This is a street where every house gets flooded. It's a severe issue that does need to be addressed.
I'm just looking at some of the other items. Yeah, maybe we keep that up there. Next one is Fall Street Construction, 32nd Street, off Dead Morris. That's also important, right?
That was the one that I was.
Okay. One was under transportation, one was DOT, and one was DEP. I think, this old item here, the 114 precinct, to create that new precinct, that's pretty high, right? Chris?
Yes,
We should
very
keep
high.
it, we should.
That ranks very high.
Yeah. Sanitation garage has been on there for a couple of years. We know that there's some partial funding, but desperately needed in the community.
Can
we keep that?
Can I say something
Yeah.
on that? I thought it was already funded. I thought we spoke about this, so shouldn't this be under continued support?
Continued support?
Or is it, say that again, Florence, I didn't hear.
The reason it's there is because it's on a 10-year plan, and the idea with the land use committee was to move it up, to bring attention to it so they build it faster. We're about 6 years into the 10-year plan, and we haven't gotten any answers on the movement. The ULIP has been done. It's about pushing the project forward now. And if it's on the higher numbers, they're going to know that the board really wants it.
So even though we have funding, we should leave it on the list, on the top part of the list.
I was trained differently than the way the list is being worked. So, I mean, if you ask me, yes, but the chair of the committees may not agree. I was taught that every item stays on the list until every nail is in the ground and every screw is screwed. I wasn't taught to put it under continued support.
Marie?
I would say it should remain there only because by the time this is ready to be built, it won't be fully funded because it'll cost 3 times as much.
Okay, fair enough, then
I might suggest we move it up.
What number is it?
5 right
It's
now.
now at 5.
I
Should we
think-
move it to 2?
I would move it up before the new police precinct.
Yeah. So we'll do 4 here. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. This is 4. This is 4. This would be 5. This would be 6.
And the police station is now 7. So we still have, like, the top 10, right? We want to keep an eye on the top 10. 3 more remaining. Do we do firehouse, renovate Astoria Park Pool Complex? I know that's, DPR was very interested in that. Other Astoria Park enhancement in lighting. Hallett's Cove Playground.
I know that the renovating the pool was something that was on Park's mind. It was on top of their mind. They say that the buildings itself is crumbling and it needs
Yeah.
to be renovated. So they were very, 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 very important to them.
Can we move this up? Thank you.
Do we want to move that up? Yeah?
It's reopening Firehouse 261
Right.
on 29th Street and 37th Avenue.
Yeah, I think that's more important than opening another precinct or something. I think that, so that's
Well, it would be opening, it would be renovating the current precinct?
Yeah.
So,
No, I know, I was just responding to you.
well, it had already been on the list as construct anew. So should we change the construct to?
Well,
Frank
in
has-
the committee, we talked about it, it was either or.
Can you talk into the mic, just because we're recording? Thank you.
Sorry, but let Frank.
Yeah, 2 points of information. One, yes, is that it's understood by building new could be at the same location or alternative location because there might be limitations to actually using that location. There's flooding in the basement, other issues. It's terrible for parking and sidewalks and everything, so they may move the precinct, but they need a new building there or somewhere else, and the language was strategically ambiguous to point to that. Regarding the reason why the output on the firehouse was lower is we try to be mindful about the difference between a complaint of a service or a thing versus a solution. So what was the complaint and then what's the solution to the complaint? We didn't actually get information about complaints, about service times or anything particular about fire anything. So we inherited this word, the phrase about this new firehouse, but without any context of what it was solving. And if the actual best way to solve it was a firehouse, versus we actually heard several data points from several sources around issues with the precinct that weren't just from the NYPD itself.
And if I could just address what might be a concern about the firehouse as it relates to possible over-policing in the district. One of the concerns was actually that the holding cells are in the basement and that they actually flood with sewage, and that there was actually sort of a human rights concern about the conditions under which people who are arrested and put into holding are kept in the facility.
So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess that's good to know, but I mean, I would argue, I mean, the human rights violation is the prison industrial complex and the fact that we criminalize folks for mostly nonviolent crimes, right? Like, there's a systemic issue. I mean,
Understood.
you know, I'm one person on the board, right? People are going to put on the list. It'll be a miracle if anything's funded, if it even matters. But, you know, like, top 10, if you ask me, if we're choosing between a firehouse to, I would hope, prevent fires and protect families versus the police that brutalize black and brown New Yorkers, including folks like myself, then, you know.
No, I get it, Doreen. I just wanted to bring the other
Police don't
concern
keep
that
us
was
safe.
raised by some folks at the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, Dom?
I just want to say that I live a block and a half from this firehouse, and it is in operation. It's got firemen in there. They open the door. They've got 2 trucks in there. I've heard that it may be a building services specialty building, like not a standard firehouse, but it's probably serving the fire department a sub-use or a specialized use that's appropriate for them. So that's what I've heard. So it's an active firehouse already. So when I see reopened, it implies to me that it's not open, and it is open.
Okay, it's not a full firehouse, according to Florence, it's a ladder company. So,
Correct.
well, the question, I guess you weren't able to get any more information at the time about this, right? So, go ahead, Florence.
So the ladder company used to be open, and our district serves Roosevelt Island. Also, when that ladder company was closed, we did not have the number of homeless shelters that we have in our service area now. We're between 32 and 35 homeless shelters in that area, and we service Roosevelt Island. So before we had all that, this was already on the capital expense list, and now that we have all those additional human beings in this area, it's even more prevalent that it's needed with the development of Roosevelt Island, the college and then all the shelters that were housing our new neighbors.
Factional question for you. Have you received complaints about service times?
Never.
Because that's a rational argument, but I'm looking for empirical
Never.
evidence.
Residents, this went on the list because residents of Dutch Kills and the former president of Dutch Kills Civic Association advocated for it back in the day, and they still want it, to the best of my knowledge.
Got it.
And with the growth, the obvious growth.
Well, I understand the arguments. I'm just curious
Yeah.
if we've actually heard complaints about the service
Yeah,
itself.
Dutch Kills Civic Association former president.
And did they say there's service complaints, or did they say, will you open the house? Because once again, we want to detach these two ideas.
If you Google, the best thing I can tell you is if you Google back on that location, there are newspaper articles on it with Carolyn Maloney and other elected officials.
going back a while.
protesting. It's going back a while.
It's going back a while.
But the conditions over there have gotten worse. More people, so to speak.
Okay, Dom, did you have your?
I just wondered if at that time that those complaints were coming in, was it fully closed at that time, Florence?
No.
No, just part of the services were taken away.
Marie, do you want to say something?
I just want to say we don't know if we'll get a service complaint until we have a fire. That's the problem. So that's all I have to say.
Okay, let's keep going because.
So what are we doing?
Daniel. Into the mic, please.
Hello? Yeah. As far as service complaints, as you said, a fire, but there are other jobs that fire department goes out on, such as ambulance runs and things like that. And do we have any statistics on response times? Are they lower in this area because of this lack of a firehouse or not? It's response times that we would want to look at, not complaints. And if our response times are slower than other places in the city, then yeah, we need more fire people and fire trucks and all that stuff.
Great point, Dana. Thank you.
Okay, so do we want to, I just want to keep moving us along. Do we want to leave the firehouse there? Do we want to move it up?
What number is it at?
Right now, this would be 7.
Okay, still in the top 10.
And the police station would be 8.
There seems to be some consensus to move the firehouse up.
Do we want to move it up?
Yeah.
No? You think it's good where it is?
Going once, going twice?
No, we have some.
Rosemary just wanted to say something real quick, and then we're going to move on.
Oh, word. I just want to say, like, without a little bit more information, I don't think that we need to move it up necessarily. Like, if it's in the top 10, then fantastic, but, yeah.
All right,
There's
is
just more
everyone-
information that's needed.
Is everyone okay with that? Yeah? Okay, keep going, Amy.
What is it?
We're going to leave it there.
The firehouse under police station.
Under or over?
No, I thought it was above.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Above, yeah, higher.
Question?
okay. Sorry.
Amy?
Okay, Dom.
Just wonder if the text could be edited.
Yes.
That's all, on the firehouse one, to be a little more accurate than real.
We can.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, again, long list of expense. Astoria Park pool complex, that would be 9 year. And the 10th item, anything from the new request list.
I want to make a nomination for that.
Maybe this education one?
Okay, Adam has his hand up.
I'm not quite sure about are we locking in the top 10 now, or as we get down, things may, if we have consensus that they go up higher, go into that?
Again, we don't have all night, so I'm really hoping
Okay.
to get the first 10.
In
so
that case,
we can,
I would submit that the daylighting piece is very important for a variety of reasons. It's complaints that we've heard, both here and in like community forums elsewhere, in terms of like a really high safety issue. It's relatively cheap for the DOT to do this. They have the materials and could get it done pretty quickly, and is something we've already passed a resolution on. And so I would submit that the daylighting piece, when it is edited, could, go, I don't have a number, but somewhere in the
it's
7,
now
6, 7, 8.
10. It's now 10.
Okay, thanks.
So may I have your permission to play around with the rest of the list, and then we go on to expense and do the top 10 for expense right now? Again, we're in the interest of time.
But we have to vote on the
this.
list.
Okay. We're going to be here all night.
Well, what I would say is, look at that new, do we have 10? We have 10?
Yes. We have 10 right now.
Okay. So for the other items, is there anything that we already kind of said what we wanted to rank high for the new items, right? Are there any other things from the new items that you kind of want to move up in the rankings? Because what we can do, Amy, is someone could just go and plug in like, I'd like to put number 18. I'd like to put, an item that's there.
Like, I can play around with this and send the chairs a draft tonight or tomorrow.
We have to vote.
Oh.
That's the only thing.
I'm sorry. We don't have time for the next November meeting to vote? Okay. Okay. I don't know how to make this go faster.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Maria.
I think as long as you have the top 10, maybe you could just plug in those that are high, in the higher numbers, like in the teens.
Yeah.
And leave all the rest the way it is. In expediency, and next year, this is a very hard job Amy has done, and we should all be cheering her on. And I suggest in the future, each and every one of you during the year, look at this list and make suggestions then. Thank you.
Does that sound like a good plan?
Yes.
Can we all agree to that? Okay, so Amy, did you get that? What you're going to do?
So I've got the first 10 on the capital. So let's move on to expense.
And like next year, the way that we'll plan it out is that the chairs will come together and put the draft list together. We just didn't have time this year, so we'll be doing that next year. We're going to work backwards next year. Adam.
As we're transitioning from capital to expense, I know there was a note of something removed from the capital list and moved to the expense, but I don't see it on the expense list, so I just wanted to make sure that was not falling in the cracks there.
Yeah, that was moved to the That was the
The concessions.
concession, yeah.
Basically for a skating rink at Astoria Park, but that's
Or
done,
just winter activation, not necessarily a skating rink.
Yeah.
It could be other things.
but that's done through like an RFP process by
Yeah,
by
with a
parks.
concession. Mhm.
Yeah,
We were told to put that on expense.
but that was the item.
So, but it's not on, should it be under the new items on the expense list then?
It's not there?
I didn't see it, but I may.
No, you put it under, it was orange. That's what I tried to say before.
Because, again, it's not going to be funded by DPR, by Parks. I moved it somewhere.
Well, you just put it on the orange section to remove
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
you know? And
yeah.
I just,
It's the last item. It says Astoria Park pool winter activation through concessions.
well, I would think that that could still be handled. We checked in and we found that it was supposed to be under expenses when we checked with the budgeting. I think, Abby, you checked too. And I think it still could be, in the bottom part, but it still should exist because it's a very popular idea in the neighborhood.
Yeah, it is under expense sheet, but again, for potential removal, I mean, if you want me to put it back into, continued support or something.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that.
Okay. So, this is way. Again, we have a lot of items on here, folks. We have 37 items, and starting this section here, new requests, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, like another 30, 25, 30 items.
I don't know what these are.
Should I go with the new items and just talk about the requests? Okay, so from the Business and Economic Development Committee, the two new requests, hire and provide dedicated SBS staff to assist small businesses in CD1. The second one is funding for in-person trainings and workshops for MWBE certification throughout CD1. Should we say they're high, medium?
Medium.
What do the chairs say? That's a
Chairs
high
say-
item for you?
Both of them?
I'm sorry. Could I say something?
Yes, go ahead, Marie.
I'll talk about the dedicated, you're going to hire a dedicated staff person from SBS?
No, for SBS to hire a staff person dedicated to CD1 needs. I think that's what.
Okay,
they're
that,
asking.
I call that a pipe dream. And they also have staff that supports businesses and city compliance and procurement. And Doreen knows where that is, you just have to go to them.
Yeah, I work at SBS. I don't work in businesses. I actually work in workforce development. I don't see it likely that only CD1 would get that type of
Correct.
services. If you advocate for something generally, like maybe then, but like we have hiring freezes and vacancies, and there's like greater intergovernmental, whatever, city politics. So I just wanted to share that wisdom with folks.
Yeah, and they have such a unit, and I'll send that to you, Brian and Brian. That already do that work, but not just in CD1.
So do we remove those two items?
Well, I'm talking just about the first one.
So the first one, or it could,
And I think they provide MWBE trainings, but we could find all that out.
so do we want that for continued support? If those trainings are already provided, to put that under continued
They're
support?
provided by the agency for everyone in New York City.
I concur with that. I have experience with MWBE compliance officers, and there's at least almost every city agency has that. So, especially under this current administration where they have a goal.
Okay, so guys, are you okay with it not going on the ranked list for the reasons that were mentioned, or?
Yes, we think so.
So, both of them removed?
Yeah.
Okay. Education, library, and youth. Items are provide laptops and iPads for all elementary, middle, and high schools. Funding for STEM computer lab teachers. Funding for school librarians for all schools in CD1. Extend public libraries' homework help hours. This actually was 2 requests, but I combined them because if it's funding for extended hours also on Sunday, could we combine the 2 together? I mean,
Yeah, we could do that too,
okay.
together.
The last one is provide funding in order that our libraries have dedicated multilingual sections to provide, to serve our diverse community. So both of these last 2 items are from, I would imagine, funding from public library rather than DOE. Correct?
That I don't know. Lois
Yeah.
can tell us.
Would you say maybe, these 2 items are high? The first 2 items, the iPad?
Sunday library, we needed that funding for that.
I'm sorry, can you say that?
Extended hours?
Extended hours, and Sunday should be open, the library.
Okay.
If I may.
Marie?
Does that go under an expense request?
This is
Isn't
an
that-
expense request list.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Just manpower, okay.
Yeah.
They need it. I just feel.
Okay, Jacqueline?
If I may, I would like to rank the provision of devices to all schools within the community board district as high. The city did 2 audits for their hardware inventory and came up with missing devices. There is a cap in terms of the provision of new devices, so there is a technology gap that exists not only amongst elementary schools, middle schools and high schools, but then when you're going to an elementary that provided laptops and then you go to a middle school without laptops, then you're basically out of luck. So it just becomes an aggregated issue and a problem amongst all the students.
I agree.
Okay. Are people in agreement, so we're going to rank that high? Amy, I'm wondering, just for time's sake, do we want to ask people to say where they want them ranked on the list?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just go back. So Jacqueline, in terms of that item, on the expense list, where might you want to see that inserted?
I think it should be not only in the top 10, but the top 5.
So here's where we are right now, just in terms of the items that we have.
I mean, I imagine this particular item for the services for elderly, that must be funded, right? It's got the contract number on it. So can we move that to continued support? Yeah.
We can put that as continued support. Okay. So your item, you're saying you want it to go in the top?
At the very minimum, in the top 5 of expense.
The laptop, iPad one, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Any objections to that? No? Okay. All right. The other items that people had talked, new items?
Library.
Oh, the extended hours for the libraries?
Yes.
Where would we
Sunday.
like to see that?
Put that in, 5 or 6, that position.
So somewhere in the top 10?
Community needs that. That's very needed.
Can we put it at number 8? There's an empty slot right there.
A little more, little up. Maybe 6, please.
This is the ranking now. So 4, this is a new item, this would be 5.
Okay. And then that would be?
6, 7, 8. Maybe above this one? The libraries, right?
Extended hours, yep.
Extended hours and Sunday open.
That's part of extended hours. Yeah.
This one. All right, that's seeing my lame Excel skills.
I'm impressed by your Excel, Amy, and thank you for doing all this.
Like right around here. Up?
No, it's 8. The second row is the ranking. Yeah.
Yeah, don't pay attention to these
I got you.
columns. It's the column B that we're looking at. So increased monitoring, air noise we're keeping. Oh wait, I gotta finish the list first, sorry, the new request list. Sorry, folks. This is a very long list. Environmental sanitation, this is a big one. Funding for e-waste, hazardous waste, biannual collection, or more frequent pickup in CD1. Antonella, I don't know if I phrased that correctly. Is that something that sounds right?
Yeah, it is, and the reason, let me give you an explanation. There have been lithium batteries that have been thrown in the garbage, and they've been exploding in the garbage trucks. And also, there have been a lot of fires started as a result of lithium batteries. So to have them come and get them, at least in a safe manner, twice a year, it would probably increase in safety and also keep a lot of that stuff out of the landfill. And, I think people will hold on to them and just, discard them if they have regular pickup. At least let's start with biannual and see if it works. I would think maybe, is there any way we could put it top like at 10?
Sorry, isn't there already a safe disposal event? I've seen them advertised. I don't know how.
There is, there's a representative that has one where you can drop off, but that's far away from the train station, and no one, a lot of people don't have cars, so they just throw them in the garbage. They're not going to take a bus and a train to go and discard them.
Got it.
That's the problem.
Should we note that it should be in a more accessible location then, specifically?
I think it's pickup,
Yeah,
actually,
Oh,
recycling
okay,
gets picked up,
okay.
it would be twice a year pickup, right?
Okay.
Is that what you're?
Yes,
Or
exactly.
more frequent, yeah.
At least something.
So right now, it's at 9. We're removing this to continued services, so it would be at 9.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Thanks. Thank
Great,
you.
thank
Thanks.
you. Then we have housing. Provide or enhance rental subsidy programs, including Section 8 programs. Should we move that up quite a bit? I'll just say hi for now, and then we'll move things up. Sorry.
Did we skip the improved safety at homeless shelters?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You're correct. Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out. The Health and Human Services Committee had 2 requests, one being improve safety at homeless shelters, and the second one being provide additional senior center staffing. I say those are both pretty high, right?
So I would definitely like to speak with the improving safety at homeless shelters.
Top 10?
Yeah, I really do think that would be a really critical importance.
Yeah.
Our homeless population in New York City is only growing, and people who are unhoused, even if they are sheltered or not, they are increasing in numbers in our neighborhoods as well. And I think that keeping that area safe for everybody, unhoused and housed, is very important.
All right. And may I say that the housing for Section 8s and other subsidies, maybe somewhere in the top 5, Katie? Yeah. And then we'll move these up. Just going on to parks, increase sanitation services, provide funding for local schools for dance. Actually, I think that one I'm going to, Richard, move to DOE instead of parks. The last one being provide funding for additional lifeguards, especially in Astoria Pool. So high, medium, maybe medium in these? Okay. Public safety, more NYPD training and accessible traffic lights.
More NYPD training for what?
Actually, I need some help from Chris and Frank.
So this is NYPD training on cultural sensitivity, linguistic sensitivity, de-escalation, finding solutions to problems that don't necessarily involve violent or disrespectful interactions. And then the traffic lights are really to be accessible to those with various levels of ability, including those who are visually impaired and blind.
Are we adding, can we add language into the provide additional, more NYPD training? Can we add that language?
Yes, somebody needs to help me provide language to me, and I'll drop that in. No, I mean, tomorrow or something, yeah.
So-
Text it to you tonight.
Yeah.
Just regarding the traffic lights, the
Yeah.
countdown, so it's the, for, yes.
Crossings, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Those are being installed, and those can be requested.
Okay.
At different intersections,
So
so.
that should probably come.
I'm just thinking that maybe we, yeah.
As long as it's being addressed, I think
Yep.
that's perfect.
And then if you have particular locations, you should let us know, right?
So we're removing the accessible lights?
Because those can just be requested through another process.
Thank you.
Plus, like, each capital project should be shouldn't be
Expense.
less than
These are expense.
$50,000.
This is expenseless, yeah. This is expenseless.
Yeah, she meant.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, but even expense, they should have.
Last committee, transportation. Further studies needed for east-west moving protected bike lanes, traffic calming redesign for 33rd Street, secured bike racks at subway station and bike parking at all schools, and funding is needed for staff for open street programming at 31st Avenue. So those are the new 4 requests from transportation. Say medium on all of them?
What's your biggest priority?
I would say medium on the first one for the study, high on the next 2, which are 33rd Street Common, that's very important. High on the secured bike racks at subway station, because that would change everyone's life. And then medium, I would say, but does anyone else have any other thoughts on the open street staff funding? So I'm saying medium on that.
Okay, okay, thank you.
I thought you asked.
No, I'm not, I recuse myself from that question.
So again, going back to the top 10, do we want this first one, increased monitoring of air and noise quality as top number 1? Or do we want to maybe put housing in there instead?
Housing?
Yeah, I feel like that's really a priority, isn't it? Okay, so this will be now number 1. So looking at column H, that's our new ranking for tonight, okay? Where do we want this increased monitoring of air noise? Do we want to move it down further?
I would like to leave it there. I think we've been getting a lot of complaints about noise and air pollution.
Some of the other items that were mentioned that look high, like do we want to move laptops above, let's say, increase manpower to catch basin, or roll out platforms and mats for the Great Lawn? I mean, this item has been there for quite a long time, right, Marie?
I thought the laptops were going to be in the top 5.
Yeah. So can we make that number?
Those been there for years and years.
Yeah.
So we can just bring them down and put this new stuff up there. So at least they will see that, we have other needs also that.
Are we all good with that? Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry, this is going to take a while to play around. So maybe move this up a little. How do you all feel about the catch basin maintenance?
It could be go down.
It's important.
Yeah.
It is. Is it the top 5?
I think it should be.
How about, so this will be now number 4. Extended library hours, maybe top 5, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's 5. We're removing this orange one. Increase consumer affairs evenings inspectors. Is that still important? Expansion of CPR programs. Is that still important? I think this one we were just talking about, Antonella, so maybe move this up a little bit.
Yeah.
Funding e-waste hazardous?
Yes.
Removal?
I thought
Okay.
we were putting that in number 9. Oh.
Well, it was, but maybe it needs to go up higher.
Okay, great. I'm fine with that. Thanks.
I don't know. I mean, let's not number it right now.
Yeah. I think the
Anything-
inspectors are important for nightlife.
Yeah.
We get a lot of noise complaints and.
Should that go
Other
above
things.
e-waste or under? Can you see this? E-waste above consumer, okay. So that's 6, 7.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Go ahead. For item, oh, are we gonna, I'm sorry, if I'm jumping the gun, just let me know, about the item number 21, about expanding after-school programs in CB1. Am I jumping the gun, or can I
No.
address this now?
Please.
Okay. I think this is a priority. It should be in the top 10, but I just need some clarity. If the wording is expand after-school programs in CB1, including drug awareness program, to be implemented in all elementary and middle schools. Is this a request for expansion of after-school programs in general, the provision of more after-school programs, or is it very specific to the drug awareness program in after-school?
I think it's something got combined.
Yeah, it got combined. So
combined?
I took, I have to say, I took liberties at this. I'm so sorry. Because we've already had expanded after-school programs without any specificity. When Amin told me that we need to look at drug awareness programs, I thought that could be combined somehow.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to say and also reinforce the importance of this combined statement, or combined request, I should say. We all know that after-school programs, especially if there are very few and limited and free providers currently in this district. Without them, people, working parents cannot, they have to work around their schedule. They may not be able to work in the capacity that they need to and have a safe space. The other thing, too, is I also reinforce and agree with the awareness with, cannabis and its use of, that minors are experiencing. Yes, that program needs to happen for elementary and middle.
Yeah, we requested for both of them. The after-school program, lots of parents have been complaining that they cannot do the homework, so that kids can get help. So that's very needed for the community.
Can I just quickly?
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Chris.
so this is what my organization does. I think it's important to have the drug awareness piece because expansion, this is sort of along the lines of what Marie said, asking for expansion of after school in one district is not going to fly. It happens citywide. It's an annual budget dance every single year. However, I think putting something more specific like the drug education might be something that captures funders' attention, and obviously it's also very, very important. But the need for after school, as we all know, is huge, and I suggest we all advocate it on a citywide level, for it on a citywide level.
Okay, so just to kind of move us along, so it's expanding after-school programming. Could say with the addition of substance abuse, substance abuse awareness.
To include now.
Yeah.
So, including.
One thing I'd like to ask, can we keep the tree pruning before you leave in the top 10?
Can it be number 10?
Yeah, that's where it is now, I think, yeah.
I don't know if it made the last, it may have got bumped. Right now, I'm looking at the crossing guards. I think both the Public Safety Committee and Education talked about that. So I thought that should be somewhere top 10, yes?
Yeah.
Do we want to put tree pruning at 11? I got dead branches above my sidewalk that I've
Me
been
too.
calling
And I walk by them all the
about.
time.
I got a big mess
No
too.
response.
So,
Okay, so that's 11. What do we want in top 10? I mean, the number 10. 9. 10 is a blank right now. Let's look at the new list, new requests. Anything in there from?
From the old list for Health and Human, higher provider additional health department inspection. With all the new restaurant and out cafe and all of this, I believe we need the health department because this is our safety too and health.
I think that is number 17.
It's 17.
It's number
17 in the old one.
Not this one? Consumer Affairs Evening Inspectors? Oh. Oh, Health Inspector, sorry. Got it. Good point. So could that be number 10?
Yes, please.
Thank you. So here we go. Now, you can continue with your other committees while I play this around and then get this back on the list and then we can vote? Yes, no?
Yep.
Madam Chair?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, why don't you move on with the next?
Okay,
and
great.
pause.
Yes, because we still have other things on the agenda. All right. Thanks, Amy. Work your magic. Thank you, everybody. Okay, next we have communications and public outreach. Hugh is not here, and I don't think they've met since June. Consumer affairs and licenses. Kathleen is sick, so Marie, as vice chair, is going to present and talk to you about the last meeting and the licenses that we have up for approval.
Okay, this is a case where I don't have, do you have a list of the licenses? I think everybody should have a list of licenses on the entire spreadsheet. I don't have that, Florence. Mine's cut off. Thank you.
This is it. Mine's cut off too. Nope.
Okay. I get it. So I'm going to do the liquor licenses first. All the ones that are listed here, with the exception of Republic, we saw no issue with. Republic, however, has been operating without a license. They also have promoters, even though they signed a stipulation 2 years ago that they would not have promoters, and a lot of noise complaints. So we had, okay, and they did not, the owner could not be reached and did not appear at this meeting. So the committee recommended that they withdraw their license and come back next month so we could speak to the owner.
But they didn't.
But I'm confirming that with Florence, we did not hear from them. So they did not. So that one, we are suggesting that we do not approve the renewal of this license. I will not bring up HOA right now because they're not on the list, okay? So for the October, for this whole list of licenses, with the exception of Republic, we would like a motion on the floor to approve the rest with a recommendation on Republic, since they did not withdraw the application, that we deny that application.
So moved.
Is that Chris?
Yes.
Okay, second? Second, Juliet? Okay, any discussion, questions? No? Okay, all in favor of the motion, raise your hand to approve everything except Republic. Anyone opposed? Okay, any abstentions? Okay, motion carries.
Okay. I'm also going to mention
There were two abstentions.
two abstentions right there. HOA, which their license was renewed a couple of months ago. However, we finally got them to come to a committee meeting because there's been many complaints, both 911 and 311. 311 mostly noise and 911 violence, though I must note it was outside the building, but still emanating from the club. So they also signed stipulations they must have, again in June or July, Florence, correct me when that came up, and they had original stipulations 2 years ago. Now, while we cannot deny the license because it already renewed prior to them coming. I think it renewed in June, or July. But we still felt, the committee recommended that we still write a letter to the state liquor authority that we met with them and these issues are ongoing, just to get it on the record. So, would anybody like to make a motion to that effect? Second?
Doreen? Second, anyone? Adam? Any discussion? Questions? Okay, so all in favor of the motion to write a letter to SLA saying that we disapprove of them being granted a liquor license for the reasons that Marie mentioned, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Abstentions? Okay, thank you. Motion carries. Yes, Dan?
How many complaints or violations can there be or needs there to be before their license will be pulled? Do they pull licenses?
Yes, they do.
They do, but I think it takes many instances. They had a lot of complaints. I don't have the exact number here, Dan. I apologize. Can you hear me? Performance, please. Did you hear what I said, Dan? Okay. But just because we send a letter now, they're not going to pull their license. I think it would have to happen again and again, and we would have to keep on top of it.
I'm just wondering because I don't ever remember any licenses being pulled since I've been on this board.
Oh, yes. The one that occupied HOA space before home, about 3 years ago, after many years of complaining, their license was denied.
What's the name of that one?
That was called Home. And there were several others, like Aces. You must be...
I remember that one.
Okay. Perlu.
Ice.
All right, so there was several, but if you think of the amount of times you have to send a letter to the SLA, it takes time, is what I'm trying to say. So this
Okay.
is, okay?
Exactly, which is why it's
Exactly.
important that we stay on top of it, bring people in when there are issues, and address it accordingly.
Okay. Now on to outdoor dining, which appeared simple, but it was not. Okay, so we had Ovelia Restaurant, a longtime good neighbor and restaurant, no problem. Chihuahua, a new applicant on Dimor's Boulevard, who had their paperwork in order according to regulation, so that was fine. Then we got to Barrio. And Thomas Leaf, he could probably do a better rundown than I could. However, there were noise complaints, but that wasn't the best of it. Apparently they were, I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought. They were serving drinks or pouring drinks down people's throats outside the bar, just randomly during the day at night. It was like party time. And there was a woman there, actually, who came and complained about Barrio. She was here last month, if you recall. To make a long story short, there was a manager appeared at the meeting, but he could not guarantee, he said he was trying to straighten the place out, but he couldn't guarantee that the owners would abide by that. So therefore, that being said, we recommended that we do not approve of their outdoor dining application because they're making enough noise and trouble just with the indoor. So this would just add to it.
May I add one thing too? The proprietor there actually never got their sidewalk approved. They tried for years to get it. That's the reason they actually left. They're the people that own the Astoria Provisions now. So they've never had a sidewalk legally there.
Okay.
But that was years ago with it was a different process, Rich.
I know.
And with COVID, people could put tables out, so
So they're not being good neighbors as it is, and that's the reason for the recommendation not to approve these applications for outdoor dining. Anybody want to make a motion to that effect?
Doreen?
Doreen's on
Okay.
motion tonight.
Anyone to disapprove their application? The motion is to disapprove their application. Dean, did you have your hand up? No, I was just seconding. Oh, seconding, okay.
Seconded.
Okay. Any questions, discussion?
Quick question?
Yes.
To be clear, there is no outdoor seating dining now.
Oh, there is.
There is.
So they have to
Under the old regime. This is a renewal or the new?
It's a new process now with DOT. So they have their existing, it has to be removed by November 1st.
Okay.
But we're not going forward with, though they can fight this.
Right.
Just to be fair, they can fight it, but we don't feel comfortable approving it.
Thanks. Just wanted to be clear.
Okay.
So the motion is is there any other questions? And I'll just repeat what the motion is. Yeah, Shahanaz?
Yeah, as also was, I believe someone from the community was talking about the noise. They open the door in the summer.
Yes.
And with Tom, he said by the law, the door is supposed to be closed.
Okay. Anyway.
But I don't know about
There's lots of
restaurants.
violations there.
Yeah, like this is also like this violation makes them like is not even follow the law. This, I believe now we need also take action regarding this because it was a person who was there from the community was talking about the noise.
The noise is primary problem.
Yes, and they said it's
And then they're going to be outside.
And also we need to be sure they close the door as what they say it is illegal, like you have the door be closed.
Right.
Because they said also it's glass and they open it in the summer.
Right. So there were lots of violations there. So the motion is the other applicants were fine, but
Correct.
Barrio disapproval, right?
Yes.
So we are voting to approve.
Avelia and Aya Chihuahua, which you have to love the name. They were great. But not Barrio Taqueria.
Okay, any other questions before we call the vote? Okay, all in favor to approve Ovilia and Chihuahua and disapprove Barrio, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay. Naz, did you have your hand up? Opposed? Oh, okay, all right. I don't have my glasses on. I just saw movement there, so. Okay, anyone abstain? Okay, all right. That it for Consumer Affairs?
That's it.
Okay, thank
Over
you
and
so
out.
much, Marie. Let's just move on real quickly. I'm going to ask the rest of the committee chairs just quick reports because a lot of your meetings were about capital and expense. So we have education, libraries, and youth. Anything to add?
Can I just?
Go ahead, quick report, sure.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. The first thing we did when we had the meeting, before that, we sent a letter to everyone in the district. We are living many different area. All of us, 50 of us, we can see that what's going on nearby. So it's very easy to, import that and note that to the board. So it's going to be solved. We want 50 of us. We are working here, so we need to have the change our community. We have to have a big impact, and we do count about that. So that's the reason we send the letter to everyone, because we don't know, I cannot visit all of our committee members. We are not visiting all the areas, so let's put that together all the time with all the committee. And we had a very, I'm giving you just a brief one, that, very important issue in the community. Now we have one of the elected official also sitting there in the community, that we are not teaching about the awareness of the drug, which is crashing our, all those cause the problem we are having. Its roots is that it's coming from there. We are not educating our young one, especially the the elementary school teacher and the parents. Most of the parents, they don't even know that. When we are going to the middle school, we just, having the problem and we are dealing with that, but we are not starting our process from the elementary school. So we do have the recommendation, and we are going to write a letter, and it's not only the education committee, we whole board, we're going to prepare a letter and we're going to take the board. That's what I've been talking with the Madam Chair. So we're going to send that to the DOE, and from there we'll go further and further. And the rest of the thing, it was a little bit of this discussion
Capital
with the
expense.
capital
Okay,
expense.
so you'll
Yeah.
have that
Thank
letter
you, everyone.
for review next time, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Amin.
You're welcome.
Okay, next up, we have environmental sanitation. Real quick, please. Going to ask all the committee chairs.
Okay, so
Because we do have to vote on a
October-
few things.
October 8th, we had Rachna Shah from BeyondPlastics.org. She explained how dangerous, she did a really amazing presentation on how dangerous to health and environment plastics are. If you want to check her out at BeyondPlastics.org for her presentation, I encourage that. We also went over capital and expense, and also months ago we had Fluoride Action Network speak at our committee meeting. The federal court actually ruled against the EPA that water fluoridation poses an unreasonable risk to children. And just a quick quote from the order: in all, there is substantial and scientifically credible evidence establishing that fluoride poses a risk to human health. It is associated with a reduction in IQ of children and is hazardous at dosages that are far too close to fluoride levels in the drinking water of the United States. Reduced IQ poses serious harm. Studies have linked IQ decrements of even 1 or 2 points to reduced educational attainment, employment status, productivity, and earned wages. And in a future meeting, we're going to try to see if we could draft a letter to see what the EPA is doing in our drinking water, and we'll propose it to the board at that time. Thanks.
Thank you. Health and Human Services.
Okay, I will try to be short. We have Vanessa from Department of Health. She came and she talked about early intervention, and I encourage everyone to watch it in the Community Board One YouTube channel. It's really a good benefit for some kids, and I'm not going to give too much about this. The other thing, we talked during the meeting about meet every other month, and we said if emergency, we're going to meet, is depending on the request. We also discussed the capital and expense. I will send it to Amy and Evie and Florence. Sorry. Thank you for all the feedback, and it was a really good experience to learn about the capital and expense. The other than saying, I will keep it this way. Thank you so much. Yeah, sorry. We're going to, we ask for another meeting for October for the pool trust. This way we educate the people about pool trust for disability, and people can understand how they can get the benefit too. Thank you.
Thank you, Shahnaz. Housing.
Our next meeting is tentatively scheduled for Monday, November 11th. And there are 2 Know Your Housing Rights trainings coming up with the Astoria Tenants Union at the Variety Boys and Girls Club, Tuesday, October 22nd, and Saturday, October 26th. You can go to their website, astoriatenantsunion.squarespace.com, or you can speak with Doreen after this meeting. And thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Land use and zoning.
Thank you. We have 2 items that we need action from the board on, or at least a response. The first is the Vernon Boulevard rezoning, the extension of the special permit. There is no vote required per se, other than you can comment and we can forward that information. Well, I guess you can vote. You can disapprove. If you don't like the concept of approving the extension. So it's open for discussion.
Anyone have any comments, questions? Well, I guess do we want to make a motion, or?
I'm sorry. Oh, yes, I'll make a motion. A motion to support the proposal, the request to extend the special permit, the CPC special permit for 3201 Vernon Boulevard.
I second.
Okay, so did you make the motion, Liz, or did you want someone to make the motion?
Oh, I did.
You made the motion? Okay, I mean seconded. Yeah. Okay. Any discussion? Okay, so it's a non-ULURP item, so we don't have to take roll call. We can just take a voice vote. So all in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed?
Nay.
Okay, one opposed. Any abstent? Okay.
One abstention. Right.
Okay, great. Thank you. Go ahead, Liz, one more.
Okay, the second item, is she still here? Oh, my goodness. We do have a representative from Eric Palatnik's office, who is the attorney for the applicant. This is Elise Folidare, who is here to answer any questions. I wonder if you had gotten a chance to read the letter that was in the file that came to you.
Can also summarize it if you need. You asked a bunch of questions. There are violations on the site. Unfortunately, because it was a hotel, so this is an application to vest the hotel that was permitted before they changed the law. So what happened was they ran out of funds. They can't get public funding anymore. It's supposed to be a hotel. They still want to build a hotel, but now they've had to raise private funds. They hope to have them by the end of the year, so that's what the letter says. There are a stop work order. There is 22 violations. They're not doing anything, not touching the site until they get this money, and then they hope to fix all of those violations and continue. It'll take about 12 months to finish once they get enough money through private lenders, and that is what the letter brings. So they want to finish this hotel. That is the dream.
Well, there were issues, and what the letter to BSA, there were so many things that there's nothing really that we can do at this point. We have explained in this letter the reason why the community board didn't support the extension. I'm not going to say disapprove, but didn't support the extension. And there were so many reasons because of the violations, and it really is at this point the decision has to be made by Board of Standards and Appeals. There's nothing more that we can input into this. The letter explains what happened at the last meeting. I mean, the first request they made, we supported it. The second time they came around and they had all of these issues, and we did not disapprove of it. We just could not vote on a motion to support. And it really is in their hands at this point. And that's what the letter is saying, basically. There's no reason for the board, the decision we have to make tonight is whether or not we want to have another hearing to discuss before they go on with Board of Standards and Appeals. And I think there were some of us who believed on the committee that there was really no point in it, or, you all made your points and statements last month. And yeah, that's it. And so the point is, we could vote on a motion to waive our right to a public hearing at this point, based on the facts and the history that they've had here.
So we already made our point.
Yeah.
Okay, so
There's nothing more we can say.
Okay, so you made the motion. We're going to send that to also send the letter, right?
Yes,
it includes the letter.
Yeah,
Okay.
the draft is here. If there are any changes or anything that's...
Okay, anyone want a second?
Motion to send the letter.
Okay, so that's motion second?
Second.
Okay, Richard? Okay, any discussion, questions? Dom?
I would just like to hear the paragraph that states that we are kind of neutral on the decision. Would it be possible to just read that?
Oh, sure. It's not that we were neutral on it.
Well, we're saying we feel there's no point for us to discuss it further, and any past decisions stand, and it's up to the BSA.
Okay.
So I'd just like to hear how that's worded, if you don't mind. Sorry.
Sure. On April 16th, the board heard the applicant's second request for an extension. This time, the board disapproved two motions to approve the extension. I think that has to be changed. A full description of CB1's discussion and reasons for denying approval of extending the permit were included in a letter dated April 24th. Those issues and concerns about safety, the building and site violations still stand. In addition, we followed up with the request for the number of violations that were cleared and received the DOB website, 28 pages from the DOB website concerning this the violations, and the statement that the owner is working on it and correcting them within the next few months. Well, we heard a little bit different explanation right now. We asked about the owner's success in securing financing. Traditional lenders are not funding hotel development at this time, but the owner anticipates financing from private investors to be in place by the end of the year. Excuse me?
I hope that's what I said right now.
I took it from the...
Yeah, but I hope you said I said something different, so.
Okay. We asked when the project will be completed. The owner estimated 12 plus months after financing is in place. There's no reason for Community Board 1 to hold a third hearing on this project. Board 1 believes that the outcomes of this case is solely for BSA to determine. Your agency can access more information from the applicant about seeking financing and resolving the DOB violations on the site. We therefore waive our public hearing on the BSA.
Thanks.
You rock. You wait. Any other questions, discussion? Okay, so the motion on the floor is to send the letter that Liz has drafted regarding waiving the public hearing, but expressing just all the objections that we had to this process, and the reasons for the waiving was what Liz stated, just in terms of this really falls under the jurisdiction of BSA. This is also a non-ULURP item, so we can do a voice vote. So all in favor of sending the letter, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, any abstentions? Okay, thank you, motion carries.
Thank you for your time.
All right, we're almost done with the committees, and then we're going to hear from Senator Gonzalez, and then we'll take our vote on the capital and expense. So legal, Rod is not here. Office budget and staff, we did meet, we looked at the office budget and gave input into that. The budget is still not complete for the year. We're looking to possibly include some funding for kind of a land use consultant to help us with some modeling of projects that are coming down the line. And then I'll just move on to Parks and Recreation.
Yeah, Rosemary and I had a meeting on October 7th, and we had a presentation from the Parks Department for the Hallett's Point Playground renovations. They made a great presentation. We recommended that they include also, beyond what they're putting in there, additional sanitation receptacles, additional adult seating, if viable, a game table, and a storage shed for Parks Friends group that was also included in the request. So we have a copy of the letter in your packet, so I'd like to see if somebody could give a motion to approve this letter.
Shahanaz makes the motion. Anyone want a second? Second. Marie, any discussion? Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Richard. Is that it? We're good? Okay. Public safety, real quick.
Okay, so we met on the 18th of September for the first time in quite a while. It was a productive meeting where we went over the budget priorities, both capital and expense. We also had a fulsome discussion about policing, over-policing, particularly as it relates to Muslim and Arab communities in the district, in the area called Little Egypt. We'll continue those discussions. Frank and I are setting up meetings with Detective, I think, Tovar from the precinct, who is the community relations officer there. They were unable to attend the last meeting, and also with Councilmember Caban's office to talk about the priorities and their ideas. Also high on our list at a future meeting is to have representatives from one of the violence interruption groups that's working in the district. Finally, we hope to have another meeting in December or January. We'll start working on that soon.
Thank you so much. And last but not least, transportation.
Hi, 3 quick points of interest. We did not have a meeting this month. Number 1, Sunday past 10/13 was a rally to demand the opening of the South Outer Roadway to pedestrians as soon as possible. It was well attended by 75 members of the public, including New York State Senator Kristen Gonzalez. Hello. New York State Senator Jessica Ramos, New York State Assembly Member Zohan Mamdani, and New York City Councilperson Julie Wan. I personally witnessed a crash on the bike path a few days ago, and so this is a really important issue, and I'm glad that it's getting the attention that it deserves, and I hope that we see results. Number two is tomorrow there is a town hall meeting regarding the Queens Waterway Greenway implementation plan, and the one last week was for our stretch of coast, greenway. The one tomorrow is in Flushing, October 16th at the Glow Cultural Center in Flushing, and then the third one will be on October 24th in Eastern Queens at APEC. And then lastly, just some stats that we're going to start boring you with. In September of 2024, there were 7,740 automobile crashes in New York City. There were 3 cycling fatalities. There were 8 pedestrian fatalities. There were 4 motorist fatalities. This information is from the Crash Mapper. And I just find that first number of 7,000 crashes in a month in New York City amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Liz, did you have a...
Yes, I would like to add something to your report on the bikeway.
Sure.
The segment of this proposed bikeway that is going through our district is going to be discussed at the next meeting for the one that goes up to Flushing. And that is in the bikeway path they're proposing that goes through the Astoria Heights section. And I attended the Astoria one last week, and I pitched a proposal that they try to link Leicester Creek from 20th Avenue, to take them around and let them go down 19th Avenue, and they're looking around 19th Avenue and then 80th Street or something like that. But if there's anyone who lives in the Astoria Heights area who is concerned about this, it should be, they should be told about this meeting. It is in College Point or someplace else, but there's going to be another a Zoom meeting, I think. Yeah, the fourth
On
one.
October 29th from 6 to 8 p.m., virtual workshop.
Right.
Tuesday, October 29th.
And I spoke to the woman who was at our table, and she said that they would take comments about this area via Zoom. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, Tom?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Okay. Yeah, Katie, if you could just stay, just because we have to vote, and we want to make sure we have a quorum. I know, few minutes. So, Senator Gonzalez, can you wait till we vote on our capital expense? Okay, I'm so sorry. I feel so bad that you're waiting, but okay. Just because I know some people have to get going, we need to vote on the capital and expense priorities list. So, Amy has reworked the list. She's going to review. I think what she's done is kind of cleaned up the top 10, put in like the top 10 for each category, and then moved stuff up onto the list. Is that what you've done, Amy?
Basically, so high priority items, I moved some of the older items from like the teens down a little, put in the high priority items, and kind of mix and match some of the medium high in that range. So the top 10 of capital, I think we've already discussed. So number 11 through here, I will definitely need to come back to committee chairs to get some explanations and better wording for some of the requests. So here we are, we have 11 is IS 141, 126, renovation, homeless shelters, upgrade existing facilities for number 12. New and expanded healthcare facility, number 13. I think, that comment about like public safety and wider district needs being a priority is very important. So I took that into consideration. Some other items that have been, higher up on the list in the 7, 8, 9, 10 now got moved down to 18, 19, 20, 21. In total, we have 41 items on capital. And of course, once I clean this up, I can definitely send it all to you to look at. But again, some of the pre-existing items from the previous list are in a lower ranking. And some of the new items that had low and really low priorities, I kind of put them at the bottom of the list. So do we want to take this capital list first and vote on that? And is that it's on a roll call? Is it? Okay.
Where did you move the housing lighting problem? Because I know it was number 22 before. Where did you move that?
Was that a capital or a?
I think it was capital.
Improved lighting is here at 34. You want to move it back up?
It was at number 22 before, but now it's at 34?
Well, I'd be happy to move it back up. I mean,
Yeah, I
it's
think
just.
because that's a safety issue for those people that live in that area.
All right, so I'll move that. Sorry, I must have missed that. Just trying to do this really quickly. So this would be 25. Maybe before that. The 24 ranking is good for you? Like somewhere here, 24?
Could you move it to like maybe within 15? Could it be before the homeless shelter or something?
You good with moving it up? Yeah?
How about like right there? Right before the homeless shelter, is that? So that would be 12.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh no, what did I do? I'm sorry, I can't do this quickly.
Okay, so you're going to move that up.
Yeah.
To 12.
Are we good to maybe entertain a motion to approve? Okay, wait, I didn't even finish my sentence. So let's just let Amy paste that in there, but we know where it's going. Okay, so there are so many motions, but I need a name of one person. The motion is to approve the capital list, right? So Amin, and second, Frank. Okay, great, thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, everyone did a lot of work on this. I appreciate it. Okay, so let's just take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, anyone abstain? Okay, all right, so here we go. We've got our capital list. Thank you. Okay, great. Want to go to the expense list now. Thank you.
Okay, we have a total of 52 items on the expense list.
Amy, can you zoom out, please?
Yes, working on that. Can you see?
Yes, much better.
Okay, so again, I think you know the top 10. Again, I was just trying to move some of the new items into the teens and 20s and some of the lower ranking numbers. If anybody has any particular things that they want to see move, now's your chance. So I'm just going to go slow here. I moved that NYPD training up a bit. Chris, if you can help me with some language for that. Put a note in there for myself. If I'm going too fast, let me know. I think, again, if you're looking at column B, these are previously ranked, and this is our new ranking. So if, something like number 4 needs to be bumped up, But a lot of these are new items down here, this section in the 20s.
Everyone good with this? Is there anything that you want to advocate for?
Yeah, and some of these older items, again, from like, this ranking here now got bumped down in the 30s.
Okay, so if there's no other changes if everyone's okay with this, can we get a motion to approve the expense list? Marie, second Katie. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, again, I want to say thank you, first of all, to all the committees. Thank you to Amy. And like I said, this was a new process for many folks, so next year we will work backwards and be able to have the committee chairs kind of weigh in as we rank and then present that to the board so it'll go a little quicker. So thank you all.
Could we start maybe next year in June?
Absolutely. We can actually start before June. So believe me, I've come up with a whole timetable. So we will start before June. Because if you wait to June, anyway, we won't get into that. But quick comment, and then I want to make sure Senator Gonzalez can.
It's not only this, if also the member attending the meeting, because we try to do the meeting and we do a lot of discussion, but when people doesn't come to the meeting, I know sometimes we have excuse, but if you can attend in the meeting, we are still in Zoom.
Right.
You can attend it from anywhere.
Right.
And this will help us, instead to stay the whole night here, do all of this work. We know our discussion in the meeting and we get the result and it's also his first time to do it. It was really good. Thanks so much to you and Amy. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you. All right, I'd like to call up Senator Gonzalez. We're moving into, and thank you for being so patient. I hope you enjoyed watching us do our capital and expense
I think some of you know this, but I served on Queens Community Board 4 on the executive committee about 5 years ago at this point. And so this has been fun. I missed, and also we would go a little bit later than this. I'm like, 9:30 is not so bad. So I think to the credit of you all, keeping the schedule going quickly. So thank you for letting me sit in. It's been also really exciting to hear committee report backs. Definitely reach out to our office, housing. I heard EPA letter. We're constantly working with them. Transportation. We were at the Queensboro Bridge rally, but please, we're here to be a resource. But hi, it's good to be here. How's everyone doing? I see. I know, long night. But it's nice to be in person. January to June, it's a little harder just when we're back in session. But I just wanted to come and say hello, check in, see where we could be helpful, give you some updates. But before I get into that, I also wanted to introduce our newest office member, who is right over here, who moved, sorry. Kaylin, who is our scheduler and will be attending these board meetings. So you'll see her face. Kaylin, if you want to wave. Kaylin, and I was going to just give you a little background. She is a Baruch graduate. She studied political science and Spanish. Also born and raised in Elmhurst, so right here in Queens. So if we can give her a little love and welcome her to the board. But also give love to, of course, all of the other incredible staffers that have been here patiently all night. So just transitioning quickly into some updates. I wanted to remind everyone that our office does monthly office hours. Our next one is on October 28th. We'll be holding, our office hours at Astoria Houses Community Center from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., along with Councilmember Caban, Assemblymember Mamdani, and Rep. AOC. Since the last time I saw you all, we've had a lot of really good updates just in the district. We gave out 1,200 backpacks. We've had shredding events, e-waste events. We'll keep you posted on the next ones. But we've also done some very great community events around big checks with Hannock, Reality House, Variety Boys and Girls Club. On that note, I also wanted to say we are taking our requests for 2025. So if you have an organization, and I know I see some in the room that have already applied, in previous years, but if you have an organization that is looking for capital funding or discretionary funding, please send that over to our office early. We're happy to sit down now. Is the time to like talk through what you need and help us get a sense of what this neck of the woods will need in terms of funding for 2025. So, reach out, myself, Kaylin, and hopefully a year from now, we'll update you on some more big check events that we do as a successful, hopefully with a successful end of that process. As Thanksgiving approaches, we're also coordinating with community partners for upcoming food drives. We'll be doing our turkey giveaways as well as starting our toy collection. So please, as a board, if that's something that interests you, we would love to partner with you all. A few district issues between now and then. We are working on some letters. I heard Greenway. We sent a letter to NYPA to make sure that we have a Greenway along the Queen side. And so we get from the New York Power Authority some of their land, following up with them. We have also sent some letters regarding street safety in the neighborhood and Department of Transportation projects. I did want to call out that McGinnis Boulevard, which is in Brooklyn recently, was a major win in our district because it was a Department of Transportation project that was stalled, and we were able to actually push on this administration and successfully get that project approved. So if we did it in Brooklyn, we know we can do it here. So we're going to continue fighting and prioritizing street safety in the neighborhood. And then finally, on ongoing issues, Midtown Tunnel flooding. So I represent the Midtown Tunnel on both sides. As you all know, I think a lot of our neighbors actually often use the Midtown Tunnel. There was a leak recently. We're following up, especially based on last week's confirmed reports, that the way that they confirmed that it was a leak coming from the river was as a result of a worker drinking the water to taste for salinity. So, yep, not the standard we want moving forward. We laugh because it's so absurd, but also, of course, a serious concern. So we'll be following up with the MTA and with the administration and EDC around that, sending a letter as well. And then one more letter. In a collaboration with Assemblymember Mamdani's office, we've sent a letter to the governor to allow all students to receive unrestricted student Omni cards. I know I myself was one of, I had a student MetroCard when I was going to school, but as we roll out the Omni program, we want to expand that. I think a lot of students in our district will really benefit from that, so I wanted to put it on your radar. And you know what, with that, I think the last thing I just wanted to flag, and the reason I also wanted to come before November, is to remind everyone that as we have an election coming up, we're not telling anyone how to vote, we do have propositions on the back. And so I really need the help of all of you who are already civically engaged and probably know what I'm talking about, to remind as many of our neighbors as possible to turn the ballot over and read the propositions. So the first one, and this is the really important one that's been on our radar, is Proposition 1. It's to amend the state constitution, the Equal Rights Amendment. We haven't amended the state constitution since, I believe, 1938. I don't think any of us in this room were even around last time, so I think that says a lot about how long overdue it is to have this amendment. But what it does is add additional protected classes, age and race, and then significantly, and this is, I think, very urgent for us given what we're seeing across the country, it codifies our right to an abortion in the state constitution. And so I think we've really enjoyed New York being a progressive state, but having it actually codified in our constitution, I think, sets a really important standard moving forward. And so we want people to know about this. We want to know that we can, remind our neighbors to at least review and understand better what that is. There will also be other propositions 2 through 6, again, not telling anyone how to vote. I think the thing that we've been, in terms of research, seeing a lot of feedback on is whether or not you believe the mayor should have expanded power. I think folks who do want to see the mayor have expanded power seem supportive of it. Folks who are not so convinced the mayor should have expanded power do not seem as supportive of Props 2 through 6. So I think that is the most I can say there. But happy to talk offline with anyone who has questions about the upcoming, ballot. But with that, happy to take questions and just want to thank you all for the time. We're going to keep working. Can chat afterwards, but again, thanks for having me.
Thank you. We can take just a couple questions.
Sorry.
Quinella, did you have your hand up?
Oh, no.
No? Oh, anyone have a question for Senator Gonzalez? That was really important about the propositions, though. People turn the ballots over, and they are some pretty serious things on there that we
Can
want
I
everyone
ask
to be
you a
aware of.
question? How many of you knew about the propositions? Okay, that makes me feel good. We got to get our neighbors knowing about it, but yeah, I think that's been the big thing for us too. So thank you for calling it out. And again, I'll be here for a little while longer if anyone wants to come by and say anything.
Thank you so much. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate your work.
Thank you guys.
Oh, Dom, you had a question? Go ahead.
I mean, since there are no other questions, is there a result regarding the timeline on the south outer roadway? Or a projection, or any more info?
That's a great question. So, I called out McGinnis because that was a road diet that was promised years ago, and it took a lot of organizing over the last 2 years to just recently get it approved and greenlit. I think we're in the same situation with the roadway, but we didn't know far ahead of time that they were going to approve it, right? So I think we're optimistic within the next month of getting a response, but again, it's really been hit with the Department of Transportation. I can't speak to what their timeline is because with McGinnis, we didn't have a lot of heads up that they were going to come to a decision on it before they did. So yeah, we're going to re-up it with the Adams admin, but hopeful based on the ongoing organizing that we can get at least a timeline. So
There are no plans to potentially revisit phase 1 of the McGinnis, is there? Because they split it up into north and south of Collier Street.
No,
So
so
the first part is, they left 2 lanes open, but they put a lane there. The latter half toward Meeker, they narrow it from 2 lanes down to 1.
So that was a hybrid proposal.
Yeah.
This will be to have a road diet throughout McGinnis.
The whole thing?
The whole thing.
Oh, I thought it was just south of Collier now.
No, I think
Really?
we're approving the original plan.
Oh, so they're redoing the original
They're
segment too.
we went back to the original. I know it's been a lot of,
Okay.
So that was the
I thought they
major
were
win.
just doing the second segment. Okay.
That's where they
Okay.
were, and then recently they
Okay.
revisited the first one.
Senator Gonzalez is going to stick around for a bit, so if people have questions. I know that there's some other reps. Is there anything urgent that you have to say? That you want to, any other? Or are you good? The other reps? Thank you to Senator Gonzalez. Please let's give a hand to Senator Gonzalez. Literally 30 seconds. Because we have to be out of here, that's why, so I'm sorry.
I'll sing a song together.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Tessa from Councilmember Caban's office. Really quickly, I'm our budget director, so if you have questions about how the budget process works at the council level with our capital and expense powers, you can ask me after. Quickly, we have participatory budgeting is starting. We started idea collection. Come to our event tomorrow, October 16th, to learn more and share your ideas. It'll be at 7 p.m. at the PS 85 Annex. We also have our Citizenship Now and Astoria Houses events, as always, and several new bills, including a new bill that requiring big buildings to install bird-friendly treatments for their glass windows. We also have co-prem sponsored a bill to include people of Muslim and North African descent in the city's minority and women-owned business enterprises program that people were talking about earlier, which will make it easier for these businesses to get government contracts from the city. Also, we had a hearing for our bill to strengthen and extend the city's task force to study the treatment of transgender, gender nonconforming, non-binary, and intersex people on Rikers Island, as well as another bill to change language of the official city documents that deal with people who are incarcerated to use first language. And we're hoping to bring both of those bills to a vote soon. Any questions, you can ask me after. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
As a quick plus one on that, if I may.
Frank, we got to...
Okay, all right, sorry.
I know you've done participatory budgeting and you highly recommend it, but we got to move on.
All right, that's it.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Michael Carlier here on behalf of Queensborough President Davin Richards. Just introducing myself formally to the board in my new capacity at the BP's office. I've been recently promoted to his new Director of Community Boards, so looking forward to working with everybody at this new capacity. But just first things first, as we enter the final quarter of the year here, we are entering the new CB appointment cycle for 2025. So our office just wants to remind the board to be diligent on attendance and applying for reappointment, and as well to any folks who may be interested watching online about applying, definitely keep an eye out for updates as that process does start up in January, February-ish. And second, do just want to acknowledge the community board and our local civics for their assistance and support in helping us ID overgrown medians in need of maintenance and sanitation services. The borough president did held a press conference back in August urging the Parks Department, DOT, and DSNY to get together and address these overgrown and trash-strewn medians across Queens. With the assistance of the CBs and local civics, our office submitted 205 locations across the borough for additional services. Since then, the city has stepped up its efforts in addressing a couple dozen sites. My understanding is they're working northeast in the borough, so CB 711 working their way southwest. So it's definitely going to be a process, but we're working on that. I did leave a couple of my cards at the table there, but the chair and DM also have my contact information. So happy to take questions on the side, but in regards to our office's day-to-day updates, we'll leave it to my colleague Shubra, who's here in place of our regular rep, Claire Collins. Thank you.
Thank you, and congrats on your promotion. So I'm really going to ask people to kind of keep it short because we have to be out of here in less than 10 minutes.
Just want to give an update. So October 21st, we're hosting the college fair in the Queensboro Hall from 4 to 7 p.m. We have the flyers there. I'm not going to take any more time, so that's all.
Thank you.
Hello. Okay, we'll keep
You
it
got to
brief.
speak up because we got coffee cups in back of us being cleared. So
Should I wait until the coffee cups are done being... No? Okay. Won't wait. Hello, everyone. Benjamin from Assemblymember Zahar Mamdani's office. Thank you again for having me. Very quickly, rapid fire. The MTA released its 2025-2029 capital plan last month, and the biggest update for our neighborhood is that it's putting $5.4 billion toward modernizing signals, which will impact the N, R, and W subway lines. When this happened with the 7 train, it led to a 23% increase in on-time performance, and so super thrilled to see that come to our neighborhood, hopefully soon. We do want to inform everyone, thank you, that free federally funded COVID-19 tests are now available online. 4 tests per household, free shipping, free tests. If you go to covid.gov/tests, you can order them now. And lastly, our office is giving away free leaf bags. You have leaves, we can give you leaf bags. You could drop by either Monday or Thursday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. and we could give you from our district office a leaf bag. Please feel free if you have any questions, comments, or concerns to reach out to me or the office.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Hello everyone, good evening. My name is Kazi Mariam and I am from Assembly Member Stephen Raga's office. I will not take too long, I promise. I just have some upcoming events to share with you all. On November 2nd, we will be having community cleanup in Maspeth in partnership with Maspeth High School. On November 3rd, we will be having community cleanup in Woodside in partnership with ASES. And on November 7th, we will be having intake session at our district office with Department of Buildings. On November 23rd, we will be having a nonprofit training session in partnership with Astoria Worker Project and Queens Economic Development Corporation at Elmhurst Hospital. Lastly, we will be having mobile office hours on October 17th at Maspeth in front of Starbucks on Grand Avenue. And on October 23rd, we will be having mobile office hours at Elmhurst on Grand Avenue South between 45th Ave and Whitney. We look forward to working with you all this fall. Please reach out to us if you have any questions. Our number is 718-651-3185. Good evening and have a good night.
Thank you so much.
All right, y'all. I think I'm the last one. My name is Jingo Mahmood. I'm a representative of Jessica Gonzalez Rojas, Assembly Member of District 34. hyper-local event. For any issues that you would like us to resolve, we have our mobile office hours and offer constituent services at the good old Steinway Library next Thursday, October 24th, from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. As for our legislative update, I believe the council member had mentioned this before. Last week, the assembly member joined the New York MENA Coalition at City Hall for the launch of the legislation for inclusion of MENA communities in the Women-Owned Business Enterprise Program. This bill would fortify the bill that the assembly member herself introduced at the state level that would ensure MENA communities are counted and the data is disaggregated across all state agencies. All we need now is for the governor to sign into a law, hopefully soon, inshallah. All right, thank you all and have a good night.
Thank you so much. All right, any old business, new business? No? Marie, motion to adjourn? Yeah, we're good. All right, thank you all. Appreciate it. Have a good night. Thank you for all your work.